There is only one burial of a long-haired woman in red in the mountainous area on the outskirts of town in rainy weather. This woman's body was completely unharmed and intact, like a living person. As for why a woman's 2,000-year-old corpse might look like a beauty who just fell asleep, experts say it's still awaiting proof. The young man got into a cab and spoke to the driver. He believed that this event would shake the global archaeological community. The whole thing seemed strange, as Changnan City had never heard of any burial sites. The cab driver said he was willing to share the latest rumors with the passenger, but it is a secret. In fact, that woman's corpse disappeared on the way to town. The boy wondered how that was possible. The cab driver said this is what he saw with his own eyes. The car with the coffin flipped over into a ditch and the coffin disappeared. This news cannot be published in the press and on television because it is a national cultural religion. The young man reached his destination and thanked the cab driver for a good job. He had a beautiful bouquet of flowers in his hands. The young man saw a pretty girl on the side who was being courted by a bald elderly man. The man hinted to the girl about continuing the evening together. The bald man's companion agreed, and they turned and walked toward the young man. The girl looked up and saw this guy in front of her. She was startled and asked in surprise, "What was Yang Cheng doing here?" The guy replied that he was here to give flowers to a girl for her birthday. He did not expect her to be such a golden woman. The young lady got angry and hit him in the face with her purse. She said she had inherited it all these years. And what did he give her as a result? Does that mean that the Dior bag she had always dreamed of is his? Had he bought that bag for her? The girl added that if he is not motivated, he should forget about her. JB will now take care of it. The bald man went up to the boy and, poking him in the chest with his finger, said that he had listened to the whole nightmare and, knowing the details, thought the young man didn't deserve her. Such is the fate of poor workers like him. The man added that he regrets that the girl knows this guy and recommends that he get out of here immediately. He can't look into that horrible face anymore. Otherwise, if he stays in this town, it will be a problem. Yang Cheng looked at his interlocutor and asked, had he finished speaking yet? The bald man advised the boy to be obedient or else he might regret it. Yang Cheng swung at the man and wanted to hit him. However, the guy was immediately rebuffed and fell to the ground. The man rubbed his fists and crunched his fingers. He said a few more punches should be thrown at the young man's shameless face. Yang Cheng tried to rise to his feet. The guy didn't have enough strength and fell to the ground again, his face bleeding. He wasn't scared, however. He had a smirk on his face. Baldy became nervous and wondered, is this guy crazy? The girl told Yang Cheng to go home. Her acquaintance practiced martial arts. The young man was no match for him. Yang Cheng told Zhang Long that it was a disgrace. He swore that it would definitely not be easy for him. Yang Cheng was upset and decided to get drunk. As a result, he walked with a bottle in his hand, staggering along the night road. Stepping off the road into a wooded area, Yang Cheng couldn't help himself and fell to his knees. As a result, the guy found himself lying on the grass, arms and legs spread out. He thought it was the end. A liquor bottle was lying nearby. Yang Cheng saw some sort of glow in the sky. He couldn't make out what it was yet. A woman in red was coming down from the sky. In the next moment, that woman was in close proximity to the young man. Yang Cheng stared at her absent-mindedly. He felt a terrifying coldness. The young man couldn't even move from his seat. The girl exhaled and licked the drunken guy's cheek with her tongue. Yang Cheng lay motionless and could not react in any way. At this moment, Yang Cheng felt strong and invincible. Yang Cheng thought that the body in front of him was indeed the body that had endured for several thousand years and then disappeared without a trace. The girl in red expressed regret that it wasn't a zombie in front of her, but added that the guy would help. Smiling, the stranger showed sharp teeth, the kind that vampires have. The guy sobered up in a flash. He was scalding hot because it was a zombie woman. The zombie's eyes glared, and opening her mouth wide, she roared loudly. The zombie bit the guy's neck and laughed loudly. There was an exchange of energy between the girl and the guy lying underneath her. Yang Cheng thought that he was leaving this world. The woman expressed regret that the body was already dead and decided to help the guy. The vampiress once again sank her sharp teeth into the young man's neck and began sucking the blood from him. The young man's hands trembled and he punched that girl, throwing her high up. Yang Cheng was surprised at the strength he had just used. After rising to his feet and pushing off, he flew high above the forest. He couldn't understand how he was able to jump so high. Yang Cheng landed without much difficulty, absolutely no impact. Yang Cheng couldn't understand what was happening to him. He flew high, breaking a tree with a single blow. Did he really have a superpower? Yang Qing decided that the woman in red was a ghost, turned around and started to run away. The woman caught up with him. He fell to his knees and begged the ghost woman to let him go. He was willing to do anything for her, even pay her money regularly in the form of Danny. The woman replied that she was not a ghost, but she did not know what the money was for. She added that she was a zombie and her interlocutor was now a zombie too. Yang Qing said he couldn't believe how a zombie could have a heartbeat and breathing. He doesn't have zombie teeth and zombie fingernails, for example. The woman in red was upset because the guy replied that they hadn't reached another level, so they just had a pretty good body. The zombie woman wondered, why is this guy always upset? After turning into a zombie, he would have endless life, a strong body, not what he has now. Doesn't he realize all the benefits? Yang Qing, after calming down, asked if his interlocutor was really a zombie. The girl told the guy not to worry. There is something tougher than zombies in the world. He might not be afraid of the fact that he had become a zombie himself. Yang Qing asked what his interlocutor's name was because talking without knowing her name made him uncomfortable. The girl, after thinking about it, replied that she couldn't remember her name. Yang Qing said, why doesn't he make up a name for her? The woman in red agreed. She had been sleeping for about 2,000 years and couldn't remember her name. If you look closely, she's like a fairy in a painting, filled with aura, so she can be called Shanling. Shanling thanked the guy for giving her a name and said that she had to go now. Yang Sheng wondered why she was leaving after all. She hadn't explained to him how to move on after this. Shouldn't she explain everything? Xianling turned around and said with a smile that she had almost forgotten. He must avoid the sun at noon. If he happens to meet a priest, he should run away. Yang Sheng wondered what would happen if he couldn't escape from the priest. Xianling replied that if Yang Cheng didn't do anything that could harm God, there would be no problem. Could there be many powerful priests? The girl held out a scroll and said that it would help him improve his skills. He should study hard. After saying those words, the woman in red rushed away and disappeared into the distance. Yang Cheng was dissatisfied. He thought that if there was an opportunity, he would file a complaint about this situation. Unfolding the scroll, the young man plunged into its study. The scroll contained drawings of people in addition to inscriptions. Yang Cheng rolled the scroll back up. He didn't understand a word of what it said. He should find this girl and tell her what was written on the scroll. As luck would have it, there was a free cab driving along the road through the woods, and our hero got into that car. Yang Xing decided that this day was too unbelievable for him. He met a zombie, and she turned out to be a nice enough girl. The guy looked at his hands and thought the strangest thing was that he himself had become a zombie. Yang Sheng was scared. Would he really grow long teeth and fingernails? In that case, tomorrow's news would report that a zombie had appeared in the city. Yang Sheng got out of the cab and walked further. Yang Sheng recalled a conversation with a cab driver about the body of a 2,000-year-old woman in the area being lost recently. Yang Sheng heard someone else's conversation. Someone was saying that they heard strange sounds. The interlocutor replied that his companion should behave more calmly and not be afraid of anything. Because of people like him, the reputation of robbers suffers. Someone in the darkness dedicated a flashlight to our hero's eyes. The boy squinted his eyes. A group of unknown people appeared in front of Yang Cheng. They were armed with batons. The leader of this gang told Yang Cheng to give up all his valuables. Yang Cheng refused. Another bandit told the leader that they had met a poor guy. The leader said they should beat him up anyway. Yang Cheng said that he didn't mind treating these guys to a meal, but he couldn't afford more. A bandit with a flashlight in his hand said that the man in front of them was a scoundrel and a coward. Yang Cheng stuck his hand in his pocket and said, he changed his mind. The protagonist took money out of his pocket and said that he had 10 coins. If the opponents could get them, he would certainly obediently part with his money. The bully told the gang leader that the man was humiliating them. The bandit leader agreed with this statement. In the next moment, Yang Cheng punched the gang leader with his fist right on his nose. Blood flowed out of his nose and the villain flew backwards. The bandit slammed his back into the gate and opened it. He then slumped to the ground and was deactivated. The other bandits looked at the boss and didn't even say a word out of fear. Yang Cheng was surprised. Had his strength really increased that much? He struck so hard that the bandit almost died. Our hero looked at his fist and the result of his actions with a puzzled expression. One of the bandits pulled out a dagger and tried to stab his opponent. Yang Cheng bounced to the side and the villain missed. The protagonist grabbed the villain's arm and he dropped the dagger. The bandit screamed in pain and tears flowed from his eyes. Yang Cheng, flashing his eyes, asked the villain, "Is this latest robbery your business?" The villain said that they wouldn't do it again and asked them to let them go. Yang Cheng struck the frightened criminal with his hand and he flew far back. Yang Cheng said that from today onwards, those who dare to call him a coward would be destroyed. After that, the bandits were beaten up. The protagonist used his hands and feet to beat up all those who tried to attack him. Yang Cheng looked up at the sky and rolled his eyes and shouted loudly. Our hero didn't realize what was happening to him. Why does he smell blood? Yang Cheng was very hungry. The boy looked up at the sky and saw the full moon. After that, our hero felt good. He saw clearly all the outlines of that moon, and his vision became very strong. Yang Cheng said that the bandits were lucky this time. Next time, he wouldn't let anyone go so easily. After arriving home, the first thing Yang Cheng did was to take a shower. Sitting back down on the bed, the young man took out the scroll again and began to study it. Yang Cheng couldn't read a single word. However, he tried to copy the movements in the picture. Yang Cheng didn't even understand how this could be repeated at first. Lying on the floor, the boy tried to draw the same figures as on the scroll. He found it rather tedious. Yang Cheng opened the window and looked at the full moon. Seeing the moonlight, our hero felt much better. His eyes sparkled. It was much easier to repeat the figures on the scroll in the moonlight. Finally, our hero realized that the 12 drawings on the scroll were 12 paintings, signifying 12 ways to absorb the essence of the moon. Each movement has different effects. The boy thought that the old him would die now, but the new him would no longer live like a coward. Early in the morning, our hero left the house and went to work. Talking to a colleague on the phone, he said that he would be there soon. Yang Cheng looked up at the sky. The sun was baking like never before. It was only 9 o'clock in the morning. Yang Cheng looked at his hands. They hissed and began to be covered in burns. The boy turned around and immediately ran back into the house. He felt a very strong burning sensation. After a while, Yang Cheng went outside again and went to work again. He was wearing sunglasses, a cap, and a long-sleeved shirt. Upon entering the workplace, a colleague told Yang Cheng to sign his autograph. A colleague said that the boss and staff from headquarters were just watching everything here. The captain had an angry face when he didn't see Yang Cheng at his workplace. He had to say that Yang Cheng had gone to the restroom for a while. Suddenly, there was the sound of a siren and some loud popping. Yang Cheng wondered, is there really someone robbing them? The siren was coming from the diamond processing room. The siren went off for a reason. There really was an attack. The bandits had even taken hostages. The villains shouted that if the hostages did not cooperate with him, each of them would see the muzzle of a gun. The hostages fell to the floor in fear and cried loudly. One of the bandits told the boss that they had looted a lot of diamonds and would soon be rich. The boss told them to take only treated diamonds, not raw stones. Suddenly, the gate to the room opened and our hero appeared before the bandits. The villain said that this guy must be looking for his doom. In that case, his wish will be granted. The next moment, an employee of the firm appeared in front of the guard. He said that the villain could take the diamonds, but hoped that the hostages would be safe. Otherwise, the bandits will not be able to escape. The bandit recognized the man. It was Boss Yu, the king of jewels. The criminal said that this was a generous gift for him. He originally planned to take only the diamonds. The villain took the gun off the safety and said he would change his original plan. The villain held a gun to Boss Yu and said he was more worthy of a robbery than those diamonds. The firm's representative wondered, did the criminal really know him? The villain said that in front of him is a famous businessman in this city. Everyone knows him. Yang Cheng threw the smartphone and it hit the villain right in the hand holding the gun. The thug dropped the gun in fright. The perpetrator's hand ached afterward. He looked at the man who had done it. The rogue raised his hand up and cried out loudly in pain. Yang Cheng swiftly approached the criminal and knocked him out with a fist strike to the chest. The gang leader flew far back and slammed his back against the door. Mr. Yu looked at this guard with surprise and delight. The other villain, also armed with a gun, shouted, "How dare this rascal attack his boss?" After that, a gunshot rang out. The bullet that flew out hit the protagonist's chest. Yang Cheng cried out in surprise. However, the bullet, after hitting Yang Cheng's body, fell to the floor. It was crumpled as if it had hit armor. The perpetrator who fired the shot was confused and didn't know what to do next. Boss Yu thought of that guy. Could it be a legendary martial art armor? Who is he? Why had he been hiding for so long? He decided that it would be difficult to fulfill Madame Chu's order. Yang Cheng grabbed the criminal with the gun by the arm and said that he was just a security guard. His job was to make sure everything went smoothly. The criminal was frightened and said that the man in front of him was not a guard, but a monster. Yang Qing fell the criminal to the floor and held him by the arm while using a painful technique. Suddenly, our hero felt someone hit him on the back. After this blow, some small splinters were left on his back. The boy turned and saw the bandit holding a cracked sledgehammer in his hand. The stunned criminal immediately apologized. Without thinking long, Yang Qing knocked out this bandit with a leg kick to the throat. The surviving bandits fell to their knees and asked that the guard forgive them. They had nothing to do with it, and they were forced to. Yang Qing wondered why he should spare them, since they had just been so brave. After a while, an automobile pulled up to Madame Chu's mansion. A graceful woman in a sporty red suit was exercising on the lawn. The girl was surprised to see the guest. Why did Yu Chung come to see her at this time of day? Did he have good news for her? Mr. Yu Chung said he had found the right person to play the role. He is an employee of their firm who meets all her requirements. He has already sent the person's details to her WhatsApp. Madame Chu took out her smartphone and checked the information. It said that he was a man aged 24, an orphan, parents' identity unknown, adopted by an elderly, unmarried man. This man has a high school education, no social status, clean reputation. He now works as a security guard at a jewelry factory. Mr. Yu Chung said this guy has a good character and can vouch for him. Madame Chu said the problem is Ling Ling. That child is too spoiled. She has already driven away quite a few bodyguards. Yang Chung appeared when summoned and asked if President Yu had summoned him. Mr. Yu said that he is actually the representative of the company. The real president of this group is Mrs. Chu. Mr. Yu hopes that Yang Cheng can become her bodyguard. Yang Cheng asked if Mr. Yu wanted him to protect Mrs. Chu. Mr. Yu clarified that it's not Mrs. Chu, but her daughter. She is now in her second year of university. All the young man has to do is to stay by her side until she graduates. We must protect her at all costs. The man smiled and said that this guy was lucky, and added that he would now take him to the girl he would have to protect. After a while, Mr. Yu rang the intercom in front of the entrance of the manor. The intercom answered to tell Uncle Yu to stop calling. She won't open the gate. If he wants to go out, he has to chase the bodyguard away. Mr. Yu said that this bodyguard is not like the others. He is one of the best. He hopes she doesn't want history to repeat itself. After some silence, the gate opened. As he stepped inside, our hero saw with the corner of his eye a club looming over him. With a sharp movement of his hand, Yang Chung knocked that club out of the young girl's hands. Lin Lin, and it was her, indignantly said, "How dare this guy? How could he raise his hand on her?" The girl raised her club and swung it at the bodyguard, shouting that he was a sneaky thief. Yang Chung noted to himself that her panties were pink. Yang Chung dodged the blow and couldn't help but appreciate the girl's breasts. He couldn't bring himself not to look at those breasts. After dodging another strike from his attacker, Yang Chung evaluated her thighs. He concluded that they were magnificent. The girl intercepted the guy's gaze and blushed with embarrassment. She shouted where he was staring and promised to scratch his eyes out. Yang Chung promised to stop looking at her, but she must stop attacking him. Mr. Yu introduced the girl. "This is Miss Chu, Ye Shenlin," and added that the girl had learned some martial arts. Of course, incomparable to Yang Chung's skill. Yang Chung asked Madame Ye if he had passed the test. The girl replied, "So he wouldn't dream of it. There is also a second test. To be her bodyguard, he must study hard." She handed him a piece of paper and told him that he had to finish this English essay. Yang Cheng thought, "Isn't this her homework?" However, our hero completed this task as well. The girl, having checked, said that he had barely passed. Wenlin said, "Don't let this guy relax, there is a final test." Xuan Lin showed their family's bodyguards. The girl said that this would be the final test. If the guy could defeat them, then he would pass the test. Yang Qing asked if he should defeat them one by one or all at once. The girl stated that if he was so skillful, then 4 would attack 1. Wenlin added that if he was afraid, it was better to surrender immediately. Otherwise, he might get hurt badly. Yang Qing replied that there was no such word as surrender in his dictionary. Wenlin decided to see where this guy's confidence came from. Ms. Chu commanded the keepers to attack this boy. One of the men in black asked if the guy wanted his right or left arm broken. He better let him choose. Otherwise, the others will say they were bullying him. Yang Qing expressed his fear that if he overdid it, his opponents might become disabled. The 4 bodyguards decided that this boy was mocking them and rushed to attack. The boy ostentatiously lit a cigarette. The men in black were approaching. They decided to beat the young man until he lost consciousness. After a while, the bodyguards decided that this guy was insane. All 4 of them were severely deactivated. Miss Chu wondered, How did he have such a high speed? Now I can see why he was provoking those four. Yang Cheng leisurely approached the girl. She instinctively began to back away. Stumbling, Xuanling lost her balance and began to fall on her back. Yang Yang ran over and picked up the girl, preventing her from falling. Yang Cheng had no choice and his gaze stopped on Ms. Chu's chest. Xuanling blushed again and said that he could already let her go. Yang Cheng replied that he could let her go, but what she promised must be fulfilled. Xuanling said that she would not listen to Uncle Yu's orders from now on, and now Yang Cheng should let her go. The girl turned and ran away to her room. After a while, when she stopped, she turned around and said that Yang Cheng was a rascal. She will remember today and remind him of everything when he becomes her bodyguard. Night fell. The protagonist, secluded, assumed the lotus posture and meditated. Yang Cheng heard a strange sound in the sky. He looked up and saw something unusual. The guy thought this strange creature was trying to take his power on his own turf. Yang Cheng stretched out his hand and wanted to strike this incomprehensible blob of energy, but the creature flew aside. Yang Cheng rushed over and said that this creature was very arrogant, but he didn't care who was in front of him. He would still catch that blob of energy. Jumping across the rooftops, the protagonist continued to catch up with the flying creature. Pushing back hard, our hero jumped and grabbed the creature. He heard it squeak. Yang Cheng asked, "Is this little girl scared now?" However, it was already too late. The next moment there was an explosion and the creature disappeared. Yang Cheng had a bloody hand after the explosion. The guy saw this glowing blob of energy lying on the ground. He went over and picked it up. He heard the squeak again. Our hero asked why this little guy was not as fierce as before. Yang Cheng picked up this white ball in his hands and was surprised. His blood had been sucked out by this white ball. Suddenly, the ball disappeared. However, a white spot remained on the palm of our hero's hand. Yang Cheng assumed that this white ball had entered his body. If that was the case, let him better come out and they would get to know each other better. The orb reappeared in the palm of his hand. Yang Cheng asked if this orb wanted to go with him. In response, our hero heard a squeak. Yang Cheng said that from now on, he would call this creature Little Milk Ball. A squeak sounded again in response. The morning of the next day came. Yang Cheng woke up and stretched. A small milk ball was sleeping next to him on the mat. Yang Cheng took the creature in his arms and said that it was time to wake up and go to work. While brushing his teeth, our hero thought that today was his first day of work. He needs to find Xuanling. Someone's voice told the young man that Xuanling wasn't here today. The guy walked up to her room and saw a bucket over the ajar door. He thought it was very childish. Yang Cheng carefully opened the door. The bucket fell down and water gushed out. After that, the bodyguard entered the room. The girl was left unsatisfied. Yang Cheng asked the ward why she was so unhappy. Ms. Chu replied for the guy to mind his own business. Xuanlin said that their rooms were on the same floor. However, his room is in the eastern part and hers is in the western part. He has to go around the whole house. The girl heard a squeak. She wondered, what was that sound? Yang Cheng replied that he didn't hear anything. The girl probably just imagined it. Xuanlin said that it was impossible. She had not imagined anything. She added that the sound came from Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng wondered, what is she doing? Is Xuanlin using this as an excuse to touch him? He feels insulted. The girl was surprised at such insolence and turned around and walked away. Yang Cheng exhaled a sigh of relief. This situation had frightened him. A white milk ball was sitting on his shoulder. Yang Cheng told this balloon that this girl was the real devil. If she discovers it, it will be all over. Yang Cheng was meditating again, being in the lotus posture in his room. The white milk ball was nearby and exchanged energy with our hero. Suddenly, Yang Cheng saw a woman's bloody head come down from the top floor and peek through the window. Our hero was not frightened, but was surprised. He thought that the day was already over and the pranks were still going on. Walking over to the window, Yang Cheng saw that it was definitely a prank. He thought that in that case, he shouldn't hold a grudge because of the consequences. Yang Cheng snuck into the sleeping Xuanling's room. Looking at the girl, he thought, is this still the same devil who fools people all day long for fun? The guy brought a doll's head with him. Yang Cheng hung this head on the headboard of the bed. And looking at the sleeping girl once again, he thought that his eyes could now see through things. The next morning, there was a loud scream. Someone was obviously frightened of something. Yang Cheng burst into the girl's room. What happened? He heard her screaming. Had a dangerous situation come up? Xuanlin threw the doll's head at the bodyguard and inquired, was he satisfied now? Yang Cheng wondered, what about this situation should he be happy? Miss Chu said, so he shouldn't be so happy. they should go to study. Lin Xuan was still angry. The morning had gotten off to a bad start. Yang Chung silently followed her. A young man was walking towards the girl. One of the guys he caught on the road apologized to Big Bob for the past and said he was just joking before. Big Bob asked, is he really thought of as a stingy man? After seeing Ms. Chu, Big Bob said that this girl would still only love him. Juanlin heard and asked, how can Bob Zhou say such a thing? He shouldn't be so arrogant. He absolutely dislikes her. Yang Qing tried to calm the girl down. Big Bob saw this and shouted, who's that guy standing next to his girlfriend? Yang Qing paid no attention to Bob Zhou's words and silently followed Xuanlin. Big Bob yelled that this guy had had enough of life and pounced on him. This incident was noticed by the teacher, and she came closer and asked what Bob Zhou was doing. Xuanlin saw the teacher and said hello to her. The girl whispered to her companion that it was their foreign language teacher. The teacher asked Xuanlin if anything was wrong. Bob Zhou smiled and said that there had been a misunderstanding. He apologized and promised that it wouldn't happen again. The teacher asked the girl if it was certain that nothing had happened. Xuanlin replied that nothing had happened. The teacher turned around and said she was leaving in that case. Bob Zhou said that if it weren't for the teacher, he would have taught this guy a needed lesson. Yang Qing asked his companion, is this Big Bob their classmate? Zhenlin replied that this guy liked to annoy her, and she didn't think it would get any worse. Before the lessons, the teacher introduced the students to their new colleague. Our hero introduced himself and gave his name. The students, smiling, said they were glad to meet him. Many girls said that this guy was their type. At recess, between classes, near the men's room, Big Bob told the new guy that he could act pretty cool, but how dare he get so close to his girlfriend. Bob added that he just got here, and already he's daring to take all the attention for himself. This guy should behave himself while in front of him. The disciples saw Yang Cheng, who was surrounded by Big Bob and his men. This could have ended badly. Yang Cheng told Big Bob that he would do it again. He didn't care who was in front of him, but it would be better if this guy got his buddies out of his sight. Bob Zhou laughed. Does this guy really want them all to leave? Bob Zhou swung his fist and wanted to hit the protagonist. Our hero blocked this blow and grabbed his opponent's fist. Big Bob shouted for his comrades to come to his aid. Yang Cheng was completely calm, even when he was attacked by Big Bob's cronies. The blows that followed incapacitated the attackers. They each received one blow and were lying on the floor afterwards. Yang Cheng lifted his opponent off the ground, holding him by the throat. Big Bob wheezed and said that he was in pain. Yang Cheng tossed his opponent aside and he fell to the floor. The newcomer said that if Big Bob wanted a rematch, he could come anytime. Xuanlin and the others said that it was a good job. The girl was proud to have such a bodyguard. Ms. Chu approached our hero and said she had no idea he was so strong. Yang Chen thought that this girl was quite cute when she wasn't playing a prank on anyone. Yang Chen suggested that his companion should leave here first. There are too many people here. Xuanlin agreed and offered to return to the classroom. As he walked past the school children, Yang Cheng thought that one of the young men was looking at him strangely. Who could it be?
It was midday. Pulling his hand out of the shade into the sun, Yang Cheng heard a sizzling sound. The hand immediately began to burn. The guy thought that the zombie's body was perfect except for being in the sun. Also, it's quite hard to endure. But once he reached a higher level, he would surely be able to be in the sun again. Only there's no telling how long it will take.
Yan Lin suggested that Yang Cheng go out to lunch. Yang Cheng wondered if the girl would eat lunch by herself. He would try ordering something to take away. Ms. Chu told him not to bother her. The food here only cost a few coins. Our hero didn't want to come out of the shadows. He said he needed to buy an umbrella. He is a little afraid of sunlight. Xuanling couldn't help but laugh. Does this guy really need an umbrella? After a while, this was the case. Our hero, a little embarrassed, was walking under the umbrella. Xuanling was under the umbrella with him. Miss Chu asked if Yang Cheng had dated any of the girls. Why doesn't he understand them? Yang Cheng remembered Qian Qian and became sad. Xuanling was surprised. Did she really say something wrong? Young people were walking down a deserted street under an umbrella. The advertising sign on one of the buildings above them began to sway. Its fastening was damaged. In time to notice the impending danger, the bodyguard sharply pushed the girl aside and told her to be careful. Wenlin fell to the ground and thought, did he really push her? Turning around, Ms. Chu was terribly startled. Yang Cheng, in the spot where she had just stood, was holding up an advertising sign that had fallen on him. Yang Cheng dropped the object that had fallen on him to the ground and looked up at the place where the object had fallen from. Wenlin asked how the guy was feeling. Is he all right? Yang Cheng replied that he was fine. Our hero figured it was only recently installed and couldn't just fall off. Xuanlin was surprised that this object fell from the roof, and her companion caught it with his hands. Yangsheng looked up intently and decided that there was no one on the roof right now. Yangsheng turned to his companion and said that they had better leave this place. Yangsheng told the girl that they wouldn't be traveling home by car today. Xuanlin wondered, how would they get home? Our hero had a bicycle on hand, and he said it was the one they would use to get home. They would just follow her car. It was evening and the young people were traveling by bicycle. Xuanlin was riding while sitting on the rack of this bicycle. Suddenly, there was an emergency again. A huge truck drove into a girl's car. It is good that there were no young people in the car. Xuanlin was very scared. Her driver was injured and bleeding. After inspecting the scene, the bodyguard noticed that the truck was empty. He assumed that Xuanlin was in great danger and needed to be helped. Continuing on his bike, the protagonist thought he would not leave this girl in danger. Yang Cheng said hello to Mrs. Chu and turned to her with a question. Guy has asked before, but wants to make sure again. Mrs. Chu replied that she was listening. He wondered if Mrs. Chu had hit on anyone lately. He means something strange. Because Miss E is just a cranky and fiery girl, she can't have enemies who would want her dead. She replied that she had many business rivals. Last time, she took all the assets of Jinghua Technology. Yangsheng remembered the headlines from the newspapers. Firm went bankrupt overnight, 200 billion of Jinghua Technology's money gone. He couldn't believe that Miss Chu had done this. Shortly after the bankruptcy of a firm was announced, it was reported that the boss of that firm had died after jumping off a roof. Mrs. Chu, realizing what the boy was thinking, asked, "Is it terrifying?" He replied that it was a little. Mrs. Chu said that women have a pretty hard life in this world, and she wants the barrier between men and women to be broken, so you have to take the initiative. Yangxing said that in that case, he would look into the information about Jinghua Technology. The woman said that she relied on the guy. Yangxing decided to have a little rest and went into a bar. The waitress brought the young man the drink he had ordered. Yangxing looked up and saw Qian Qian standing in front of him. The girl also recognized Brother Yang and said hello. Qian Qian said that she hadn't seen Yangcheng here for a long time. She had heard that he had left his previous job because he had found a better one. Yangcheng replied that this was not true. Qian Qian said that he was cheating. He had never ordered such expensive drinks before. Our hero said that it was the little girl who had gotten smarter. Yangcheng offered the girl to have a drink with him after she finished her work. Qian Qian agreed. While waiting for the girl, our hero saw that someone started to molest her. He heard someone forcing her to drink. Qian Qian replied that she couldn't take it anymore and asked to be let go. The villain who was forcing the girl to drink had put a bottle in her mouth and was telling her that he was going to help her do it now. Yangcheng stood up for Qian and, blocking her with himself, told this rascal to back off. The villain called the protagonist a brat and wondered how he dared to meddle in his affairs. The villain told his underlings to grab this guy. Yangcheng didn't stand on ceremony and swung around to hit his opponent with his fist. The blow hit the villain in the stomach. The villain lost his balance and began to fall backwards. Blood came out of his mouth. The bandit fell to his knees and, coughing up blood, told his underlings to destroy this boy. The bandits made a pass at our hero. Yangcheng was calm and composed as always. Using his new zombie powers, the guy started beating up the baddies who pounced on him. The witnesses watching this fight thought that this young man might be in trouble, for Tiger is far from being a weakling. After a while, Yangcheng wiped the blood off his face, but it was the blood of the bandits. Their bodies were scattered everywhere. The witnesses didn't understand what had happened. How did this guy defeat a whole gang? Yangcheng came close to the ringleader. The villain kneeled down and begged for mercy. The protagonist took the criminal by the throat and lifted him off the ground. Swinging around, our hero threw this bandit far into a corner. The villain fell and was deactivated. Yangcheng took the girl's hand and announced that whoever bullies here will end up the same way. The guy led Qian towards the exit. Qian stopped, leaning against the wall, and began to cough. The girl crouched down, throwing up. She continued to cough. Yangcheng decided to find a place to rest and said that he would take her there. Qian Qianying should come to her senses. Yangcheng opened the door, and the young men stepped inside. The protagonist put the girl on the bed and told her to rest, and he would get her some anti-alcohol pills. Qian blushed, and it became hard to breathe. She said that she was hot. Yangcheng went to the pharmacy and bought some pills. After a while, he was on his way back. Upon returning, Yangcheng saw that the girl on the bed wasn't there. Qian's voice came from the shower room. She said she was washing her face and would be out soon. Yangcheng poured a glass of water and prepared the medicine. He looked at Qian, who came out of the bathroom, and was surprised. She didn't look sick. Yang Jin told the girl to change her clothes immediately. How can she go out wearing something like this? Chen pressed herself against the guy and asked, why isn't he looking at her? Chen pushed Yang Cheng onto the bed and climbed on top of him. The girl sighed heavily and said she wanted his embrace. Yang Cheng was wary, for Chen usually falls asleep after drinking alcohol. What's wrong with her today? The guy thought the girl had taken an aphrodisiac. He flipped her over and jumped to his feet. The young man thought that the rascal Li Hu had given her something other than alcohol and regretted that he had dealt with him too easily. Yang Xing took Chen's hands and told her to calm down. The guy grabbed the belt and said he was doing it for her own good. When she comes to her senses, she'll understand. Yang Xing wrapped the girl in a blanket and tightened the belt on top to prevent her from getting out. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. The morning of the next day came. Chen woke up. Yang Cheng was already up and drinking flavored coffee. The girl asked in surprise where she was. Qian looked at herself and cried out loudly. She tearfully said that she trusted this guy. Yang Cheng stated that it was not what she thought. He would explain everything right now. After much explanation, the girl replied that she understood everything and thanked the young man. Yang Jing handed Chen her clothes and inquired how she knew Li Hu. Kyan replied that she didn't know he was from the Dragon Gang. He would come over for a drink from time to time, and she usually served him. The Black Dragon didn't come last night, but Li Hu just kept making her drink. Yang Cheng assumed that the whole thing was a setup. Ken said she wanted to quit, but no matter where she goes, the Black Dragon will still find her. Yang Cheng said that in that case, they would have to be eliminated. Chen began to dissuade the guy. The strength of the Dragon Gang is great. Just one person is not capable of defeating them. There's no need to do it for her. Yang Cheng stated to the girl not to worry. He is not going to die. He is no longer the same person he used to be. Xuanlin was talking on the phone. She asked her interlocutor if he wanted an advance. The girl inquired if 6 months' salary would be enough. Xian inquired of little brother Yang, where did he get so much money? Yang Sheng replied that it was his income and offered to take 200,000 coins to the girl. The girl cried in response. A single man and a woman shared the same room. It was unusual. Yang Cheng, yawning, thought it was time to visit the head of the Dragon Gang. Approaching a large, beautiful building, our hero assumed it was here. There were guards standing at the entrance. Yang Cheng thought that the screening process when entering this building was very strict. Yang Cheng approached the guards and stopped. The guards scanned his entire body with a detector. Our hero tossed coins to the guards standing at the entrance, and they, smiling, let him inside. The guy thought that first he should find a target to bankrupt. Going inside, our hero found himself in the company of strange people. They quickly jumped on him and offered to play together with them. Yang Cheng hugged these people and said that he didn't understand anything here and wanted them to teach him how to play. After all, he is a beginner and doesn't know anything. After a while, the protagonist had a full pile of gold coins. The losers did not understand how it happened. Yang Cheng heard someone dispersing people and telling everyone to move aside. Someone in the audience, smiling, said, "Has the dragon himself come today?" Yang Cheng, after hearing about the dragon, thought it was even easier. He didn't have to do anything. Suddenly, some man pounced on the black dragon with fists and shouted that this rascal had bankrupted him and he couldn't forgive it. The guards encircled the dragon and decided it needed to be protected. The dragon told his minions to beat this man to extremes. The guards jumped on this guy and started beating him. How dare he try to hurt the dragon? Suddenly, some boy rushed to the afflicted and told him to stop beating his father. The dragon shouted that he would finish this boy off as well. Yang Cheng couldn't tolerate what was happening. Yang Cheng intercepted the dragon's fist and held it up, asking, would they not even let go of the child? The next moment, a kick to the jaw followed. The dragon flew far back. One of the dragon guards decided to attack Yang Cheng and approached him from behind with a dagger. Yang Cheng turned around and threw this criminal aside with a kick to the chest. As a result of this scuffle, the black dragon escaped. Yang Cheng held the culprit's dagger in his hands. He said to tell the dragon that if he continued to annoy him, he would have to finish off the dragon. The surviving black dragon minions were glad they weren't beaten up. Yang Cheng helped the injured man to his feet. The man thanked the young man because if he had not intervened, he and his son would have died. Yang Cheng asked why this man wanted a black dragon. The man replied that once he started, he couldn't stop anymore. His wife borrowed money to cure their son's illness. Eventually, they didn't have enough money and she committed suicide. The man knelt down in front of Yang Cheng and asked for help to take revenge on the dragon. Our hero said he would help these people. The guy added that even if he doesn't succeed, he won't give up. The man tearfully said that the man's words were already enough. Yang Cheng read the message sent to him by Xuanling. The girl reminded him that her mom had hired the guy to be her bodyguard, not to do as he pleased. Not far from Madame Chu's mansion, Yang Cheng saw a beggar asking for alms. The beggar said it was good luck to meet this man. Yang Cheng gave the man money to buy some food and said that if the man didn't have money next time, he would help again. Xuanlin, weaving her hair together in her hand, asked for Yang Cheng to confess where he was. Yang Cheng replied that he immediately returned after hearing that she was looking for him. In the next instant, Yang Cheng was already closing the door to ward off the girl. Xuanlin shouted for him to come back immediately and tell him where he had been all this time. Stretching in front of the window, our hero saw the full moon shining in the sky. A white milk ball immediately flew out. Yang Cheng said hello to him and asked him if he wanted a drink. Yang Cheng added that he has a very good wine and the white ball can drink, but he must answer the question first. Yang Cheng inquired, could this balloon enter his body, and was it possible to harness its energy in that case? The balloon replied that it was possible. Our hero immediately asked permission to try it. Yang Cheng gave the white milk ball a drink of wine and told it to take its time when drinking. After the balloon drank the wine, Yang Cheng said that they were starting the experiment. The guy put his hand on the sleeping balloon. After that, the balloon disappeared. It was inside our hero. A white spot was left on his arm. Yang Cheng stretched his hand forward and noticed that it had started to glow. Capturing the light coming from the moon, our hero's hand redirected the moonbeam in the other direction. Yang Cheng directed the moonbeam at the tree standing next to him. The tree was immediately destroyed, its trunk significantly damaged. Our hero decided that this was very cool. The next day came. The young people packed up and went to study again. Zhenlin saw the broken tree and wondered what had happened to it. Just yesterday, it wasn't there. Yang Cheng didn't answer anything and said that they should hurry to school. Yang Cheng hurried his companion. The bell would soon ring. They might be late. Suddenly, a woman approached the young people and asked what Yang Cheng was doing here. Xuanlin said that they are here to study. What is Auntie doing here? The woman said that Yang Cheng is a loser. She, on the other hand, will probably become a teacher at the university. The woman added that Zhang Long did all of this for her. Welling got angry, but Yang Cheng kept her from conflict. The girl wondered, why did the guy pull her away? The insolent girl really pissed her off. Xuanlin was surprised how Yang Cheng could even fall in love with her. The young man gave Luobin flowers and said that he liked her. He wanted to get a response from the girl. Luobin replied that she is not interested in a relationship right now and asked to stop bothering her. The guy responded by grabbing the girl's hand. He stated that his father is a CEO and many girls dream of being with him. Why is she being so stubborn? Luobin was indignant and told him to watch his behavior. The guy said he was only pursuing the girl he liked. Yang Cheng walked over to the young men and said that he was about to beat the crap out of this scumbag so he wouldn't harass a woman. Yang Cheng grabbed the rogue's arm and twisted it. The guy cried out in pain. Yang Cheng tossed that scoundrel aside and said that he had acted within the law. Luobing inquired, is Yang Cheng all right? Yang Cheng told the teacher not to even socialize with such rascals next time. Luobin stated that she had some bad news. Xuanlin has been kidnapped. Yang Cheng came to the right address. Behind the door was the chess room. Our hero opened the door and stepped inside. He saw out of the corner of his eye that a baton was about to fall on his head. As usual, Yang Cheng didn't even blink an eye. The baton was broken into two pieces after hitting the protagonist's head. The next moment, two villains armed with knives pounced on our hero. Yang Cheng carelessly stopped the movement of the dagger with 2 fingers. Yang Cheng calmly asked, where is Xuanling now? One of the villains pointed a gun at our hero and told this guy not to be arrogant because he was holding a gun. Yang Cheng walked closer to the criminal and asked, in that case, why isn't he shooting? The villain screamed in fear and fired a shot. The bullet hit our hero in the shoulder and bounced on the floor. Yang Cheng said that only losers use guns. The criminal who shot the protagonist was scared and said that the devil was in front of him. Yang Cheng repeated the question. Would he now be told where Xuanlin was? Above the door, Yang Cheng kicked it open and found himself in a room where Xuanling was tied to a chair. There was duct tape on her mouth. Yang Cheng happily looked at the girl. In front of him was a beaten criminal. Xuanlin wanted to say something, but the tape on her mouth prevented her from doing so. However, the girl in the room was not alone. She was surrounded by armed criminals. One of the villains targets the protagonist and tells him to let his brother go immediately, or he'll have to blow this Yang Cheng's brains out. The injured criminal told his brothers not to shoot. Guns don't work on this guy. The criminals thought it was a joke and laughed. How could a gun not work? The armed criminal said that money was more important to him, so he would not be ceremonious. The next moment, our hero, using the game chips that lay nearby, disarmed the villains. Not a minute later, all the criminals were destroyed and deactivated. The aggrieved criminals begged Big Brother to forgive them. They would not do it again. Yang Cheng couldn't believe it. Was it really the villain who had just threatened to shoot him? The villain said that it wasn't. It was just his hand itching, and he just wanted to scratch it. Yang Cheng grabbed his opponent's hand and asked, "Which place is itchy?" Yang Cheng broke the villain's arm where it itched. The criminal cried out loudly in pain. The protagonist turned to the other villains. "Do they itch too?" The protagonist asked the other villains. "Do they itch too?" The bodyguard said that he could forget what just happened. However, they had kidnapped Ling, so he couldn't just let them leave. Yang Cheng said that he had some questions, and if they didn't answer honestly, they knew how things could end up. Who ordered them to kidnap Lin? All the criminals shouted out at the same time that it was Zhou Lijian. The bodyguard asked in surprise who it was. He was told that he was Joe Bob's father. Yang Cheng wondered if that person wanted to teach him a lesson, he could just find him at the school. Why did he kidnap the girl to bring him here? The offender with the itchy hand said he didn't have an answer, that he didn't know. Yang Cheng asked which gang they were from. The villains said they were from the Dragon Head gang. The bodyguard released the girl and said that it was time for them to return home. Lin rushed to his neck and thanked him. Yang Cheng took the girl by the shoulders and said that it was his responsibility. On the way home, Lin asked if her guard really wasn't afraid of bullets. Yang Cheng replied that it wasn't true. He was just scaring the baddies. How can a person not be afraid of bullets? After a while, Yang Cheng came to the city hospital. He asked the receptionist where Joe Bob's room was. The young man was told that the patient was on the 15th floor in the 13th room. While near the ward, our hero saw with his vision, which allows him to see through walls, that his father was in the ward with the patient. To Joe's father's concern, Bob said that he was already fine. The man told his son that that rascal Yang Cheng should die. He had no right to bully his son. Joe Bob asked why there was still no news. The father told his son not to worry. Once Yang Cheng goes to rescue the girl, he won't be able to come back from there. Joe Bob asked, what if this guy doesn't go himself and decides to call the police? Father replied that he had enough subordinates to deal with this guy anyway. And why should they be afraid of a lousy guy with no experience at all? Father and son talked some more about how cool they are. After that, the door to the chamber opened and Yang Cheng appeared in front of the people present. The people present were naturally surprised. Our hero asked, are they surprised? And he added that he had heard the conversation that had just taken place. The father of the sick man didn't believe it and asked, in that case, why didn't the guy go to save the girl? Yang Cheng replied that he had already done so. The man didn't believe it. Yang Cheng clarified, because there were about 20 people there, and they were all armed. The father of the sick man shouted that this rascal was bullying his son, so there would be no mercy for him. Yang Cheng, without thinking long, walked over and deactivated his opponent with a fist punch to the jaw. Bob Zhou decided to lend his father some support and grabbed a bamboo stick that was on the nightstand and decided to pounce from the back on our hero. Yang Cheng blocked the stick strike without much effort and said that this Bob Zhou was too pathetic. With the same stick, Yang Cheng hit his opponent in the chest. Bob Zhou also fell to the floor. Yang Cheng walked over to the injured man and asked what he had just said about Ling. Without waiting for a response, several blows to the jaw followed. At the same time, the man shouted for Yang Cheng to leave his son alone. Yang Cheng continued to slap Bob Zhou. The man shouted if he survived today, he would do anything to finish this guy off. Yang Cheng replied that it was impressive. He wants to see how his son will be able to take less damage due to his daddy's great strength. The guy increased his strength and struck his opponent in the chest. Those present heard the crunching of bones. Bob Zhou shrank back and screamed that his ribs were broken. The man grabbed the water cylinder and shouted for Yang Cheng not to dare touch his son. Using this cylinder as a weapon, the opponent decided to attack our hero. The villain swung the canister and shouted that they had money. They can say whatever they want. The impact of the cylinder went straight to Yang Cheng's head. However, nothing happened to the guy. He didn't even stagger. There was a knock on the locked ward from outside. They shouted for the door to be opened immediately. A frightened man shouted for help. It is urgent to call the police. Yang Cheng knocked the man out of the way and started fighting Joe again. The old man shouted not to touch his son. It was completely his fault. Yang Cheng wondered when they planned all this. Why didn't they think of it beforehand? Yang Cheng slapped Bob Joe's foot with the toe of his shoe for the last time. The boy cried out in pain. Yang Cheng leisurely left the hospital room. The next day, Xuanling refused to let the bodyguard into the house. The girl shouted in rage. Did he really go to his ex-girlfriend again? Yang Cheng was surprised. Did he really look like a crazy person? She had cheated on him, so there was no way he would ever see her again. Yang Cheng added, even though he is a bodyguard, he is still entitled to personal space. Xuanling calmed down and said that she understood. Mrs. Chu said that her daughter was only safe today because of the bodyguard. She didn't think the guy would be able to fight back so quickly. Mrs. Chu added that Zhou Lijin has a small status, but it means nothing to her. Yang Cheng thought that this sexy lady was being dark. Mrs. Chu inquired about the progress of the Jinhua technology investigation. The bodyguard replied that he followed the manager of Jinhua Technology and found nothing suspicious. They were most likely not involved in that rooftop installation incident. The landlady asked if Yang Cheng could swim. The woman offered to let him swim with her in the pool. Mrs. Chu added that he would swim beside her, and that could be considered protection too. Mrs. Chu asked if the interviewee had his swimming trunks with him. After receiving a negative answer, she said that it was okay that he did not have swim trunks. She did not mind if he bathed naked. Yang Cheng blushed with embarrassment. She might not mind, but he did. Eventually, the swim trunks for our hero were found. Mrs. Chu was also wearing a swimsuit. The woman told the guy not to be shy and to go down into the water. Yang Cheng filled his lungs with air and dived into the pool. When he reached the bottom, he began to surface. At the very surface, there was a collision. The young man heard a familiar voice, someone shouting where he was going. Opening his eyes, Yang Cheng saw Xuanlin's chest in front of him. The girl shouted where he was looking. Mrs. Chu said it's okay, and the guy can continue to enjoy swimming in the pool. Xuanling resentfully asked why he didn't call her to swim with him. He swims so fast and she always looks out for her mom. Yang Cheng started to make excuses, but the girl interrupted him. Is he really just staring at her like that? After all, her mom is still attractive. Yang Cheng thought that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He accidentally touched her daughter, and the mother said it was fine. Now he was caught looking at the mother, and the daughter simply asked if her mother was attractive. While walking through the city, the protagonist overheard a girl talking. She apologized and said that they would do their best and asked that they let her father go. Yang Cheng wondered who the teacher was talking to. Before he could blink, the guy saw the teacher falling into the water. Was it really suicide? Without a second thought, our hero rushed into the water to save the drowning woman. The rescue was successful, and Yang Cheng pulled the woman to dry land. Yang Cheng apologized to the teacher and unbuttoned her sweater on her chest. To bring the woman to her senses, our hero gave her CPR. After pushing on her chest a few times, Yang Cheng tried to breathe in air through her lips to get her lungs working. This procedure was successful, and the woman woke up. She looked at our hero and asked, "Did he really save her?" The woman cried and threw herself on her savior's chest. Yang Cheng told the teacher not to think about suicide. Any problems can be solved. Yang Cheng turned his attention to the teacher's breasts that were pressed against him. The boy couldn't help but notice it. The woman became embarrassed and recoiled to the side. Yang Cheng pulled his hand to her chest. Our hero pulled a stuck fish out of his clothes, showed it to the teacher, and asked her why she wanted to commit suicide. The woman replied that her father did not know what he was getting into when he got into gambling. Now he has lost all their money and is in debt. She got a call today because her father couldn't pay them. They kidnapped him. Now the kidnappers want her to sell her body until she pays off her debt. If she doesn't agree, they'll destroy her father. Yang Cheng thought that paying off debts by selling his body was very trivial and wondered why the teacher didn't go to the police. The woman said the kidnappers are a dragon gang, and they have connections in both the police and the government. If she complained, they could wipe out her whole family. Yang Cheng thought that the dragon gang was involved in bad things again. The protagonist asked the teacher to bring the case to him. The woman was surprised. After all, Yang Cheng is still a student. What can he do? The guy put his hands on the woman's shoulders and told her to trust him. The teacher nodded in response and said she trusted him. Our hero inquired where they were keeping her father. The woman replied that the criminals want her to come to the XXX bathing center. She thinks her father is there. Yang Cheng told the teacher to hurry up and go home, or she would catch a cold. He's going to deal with the criminals. The woman said that Yang Chung must definitely come back alive. The boy replied so the teacher wouldn't worry. She should expect good news from him. Our hero came to the specified address. At the entrance, he was met by smiling girls. The girls took the guy under their arms and told him it was a hot day, why he was still in his outer clothes, and offered him a soothing bath. Yang Chung, leaving with the girls, asked if Brother Long had come today. One of the girls replied that Mr. Long had not yet come today. Yang Chung thought, has Long not come yet? He instinctively recoiled from the girl. The girl noticed that this guy has very good reflexes. Yang Chung said that since Brother Long wasn't here yet, he would go down and wait for him. The girls told Yang Chung to take his time. If he still had to wait for Long, why not have fun with them first? The girls encircled our hero and approached him from all sides. Yang Chung turned around and started to retreat. At some point, he gave up and said that he was only willing to talk to 3, but no more. One of the girls told the guy that the 3 of them would help him shower and relax. Yang Chung, with his bare torso, told the girls to wait. He was going somewhere and would be back soon. Left alone, the guy listened and heard someone telling the man not to hesitate. Have his daughter promise their boss to sell her body to pay off the debt. Yang Chung activated his special vision and saw through the walls as the 2 villains held the old man tied to a chair. The villain, addressing the prisoner, said that he had heard that his daughter was a famous beauty in the city. If she is good, he can go to the boss and ask him to reduce his debt by a few coins. Yang Chung kicked the door to the prisoner's room with his foot. He asked the criminals if they were having fun. The villain was surprised and shouted, "Who let this guy in here?" One of the criminals with a baton in his hand shouted that he was going to deal with this guy now. Without wasting a second, Yang Chung ran into the back of the room and decided to fight this bandit. Pushing the villain aside, the guy walked over to the bound old man. The criminal wanted to hit our hero on the head with a club, but Yang Chung turned around and kicked the villain, knocking the club out of his hands. The other criminal grabbed a firearm and shouted that he was about to destroy this rascal. Yang Chung stretched his hand forward and revealed a white spot on his palm. He applied the moonlight blade. The villain's legs were immediately immobilized, and he could not move them. Yang Chung untied the old man and said that they should leave this place. However, many armed criminals appeared at the entrance to the room. The exit was blocked. The guy plopped the old man on the floor and told him not to get up. After the protagonist dealt with the attacking criminals, the old man thought this guy was pretty intimidating. The man freed from captivity thought that if he followed this young man, perhaps he could escape from here. Yang Chung walked over to the old man and said that they could now leave from here. The old man followed our hero and, stepping out into the corridor, saw that all the criminals had been destroyed. Yang Chung told the old man not to stare. Time is running out. There are more people blocking the stairs here. It is necessary to get out quickly. Yang Chung headed towards the window. The frightened old man asked, "Are they really going to jump down?" The old man couldn't believe it. Is it really for his safety that the guy is offering to jump from the 3rd floor? Yang Chung replied that he was Lu Bing's friend. She let him come here, so there is no need to worry. Yang Chung grabbed the old man's chest and jumped down from the window with him. The old man cried out in fear. The fugitives landed safely. The criminals showed up at the window and opened fire with guns on the fleeing men. As a result, our hero brought the old man to the house of Lu Bin's teacher. The relatives met and, with tears in their eyes, embraced. The old man promised not to take up gambling anymore. The teacher thanked the benefactor. The boy replied that it was no trouble to him. The old man laughed and said that this guy is not bad and would make a good match for his daughter. The woman was indignant because Yang Chung is her student. The old man, upon reflection, said that he would be willing to see this fellow as his son-in-law in any case. Yang Chung told the father and daughter to hurry up and pack their things. He would take them to the inn, or the dragon gang might cause more trouble. The next day came. At the university in class, Lu Bing approached our hero and said that she had brought him some food because he probably hadn't had breakfast yet. Xuanling looked at the teacher in surprise. Yang Chung replied that he had already eaten and thanked Miss Lu Bing. He said that if she had any problems, she could feel free to come forward. Xuanlin asked in surprise, why did the teacher start treating him so well? Yang Chung replied that he didn't understand it himself. Xuanling looked at her bodyguard suspiciously and asked, "Are they having an affair?" Yang Chung was indignant and asked how could the girl think such a thing. On a sports court near the university, young people played basketball. Someone shouted for Yang Chung to come out to fight. He wants to deal with him. The teacher shouted in fear for Yang Chung to hurry up and run away from here. Lu Bing approached our hero and asked fearfully, Why isn't he running away? Yang Cheng replied not to worry about him. The bully walked up to the guy and asked, "So is he the one who is Yang Cheng?" Yang Cheng replied, "If this rascal gets loose, he can guarantee the integrity of his legs." The villain pulled out a firearm and asked in astonishment, "Who did this Yang Cheng think he was?" Yang Cheng, using his unique abilities, deactivated the villain and his minions very quickly and grabbed the teacher in his arms and tried to slip away from here. Yang Cheng told Lu Bing that he should deal with this rascal and the teacher should leave for safety. Yang Cheng returned to the sports ground and walked over to the lying bandits. The bandit pointed a machine gun at our hero and said he would stuff him with bullets. In the same instant, Yang Cheng moved closer to the criminal and rested his body against his opponent's firearm. After this leg kick, Yang Cheng deactivated his opponent. The other thugs, waving their fists, pounced on their opponent. Yang Cheng wielded his fists, throwing his opponents left and right. The students who saw this applauded the young man. Wenlin asked, "Isn't it wonderful to be a hero?" Lu Bing thanked the student for his help. If it wasn't for him, things would have ended badly. Zhuanling started to feel nervous again. She knew that there was definitely some kind of connection between the teacher and her student. Lu Bing told the guy to talk to Xuanlin. They need to explain themselves. Can't he see that the girl cares about his opinion? Yang Cheng thought that an opinion was out of the question. The girl is just pranking to confuse him. Yang Cheng wondered, why is Xuanlin running away from him? Our hero walked into the principal's office and asked why he had been summoned. Did he need his help with something? The principal asked if it was true that the young man had gotten into a fight today. Yang Cheng replied that he didn't start that fight. It was some rascal who came to campus to kidnap Miss Lu, and he defended the teacher and had to smack the rascal and his accomplices. The principal said that high school is a place to study. If a kid wants to fight, he should go somewhere else. Yang Cheng openly asked the principal, how much did the Dragon Gang pay him? The principal was outraged. Our hero said that an explanation was needed in such a case. The principal had already lost his qualifications as a teacher and did what the Dragon Gang told him to do. The principal started yelling even louder and said that everything this guy says is a complete lie that is not backed up by anything. Yang Cheng said that when the Dragon Gang comes, the principal will calmly stay in his office. Isn't that doubtful? The principal continued to shout. He threatened to expel the young man from the university, and he would be unemployed for life. The man said to Yang Cheng not to be so cocky. Sooner or later, he would crawl into this office on his knees and beg for forgiveness. Yang Cheng said, his interlocutor flattering himself. Our hero left the office and the principal thought it was unbelievable. Everything has turned against him. This guy really dares to not listen to him. The assistant principal said that this incident should be treated with caution. He heard that Yang Cheng and Xuanlin are on good terms, and her mother, Lady Chu, is a personality who runs the underworld. Moreover, Long's gang is big, but it's Yang Cheng's antics that explains why it has dwindled. The principal thought that this guy wasn't an easy target, but he wasn't a simpleton either. The assistant director told him to be very careful. Xuanlin was moving around the university grounds. With his peripheral vision, the protagonist saw the danger and grabbed the girl's arm. To protect his ward, Yang Cheng pressed Xuanling against him and covered her with his body. After that, the guy pushed the girl to the ground with force. The girl screamed in surprise. On the ground lay a dart that had not reached its target. Yang Cheng thought that this dart might be poison. Yang Cheng saw another dart flying straight at the girl. Reacting lightning fast, the bodyguard grabbed this dart with his hand on the fly. Our hero repelled another attack aimed at Xuanlin. It was too early to relax, however. There was no danger, and the girl had to be taken out of here. Yang Cheng told the companion that they should run away from here immediately. She is standing here in the square like an easy target. Yang Cheng took Xuanling by the shoulders. He thought that this mercenary is a professional when he is also cautious. Even though there are many people around, but the gunner gets an opportunity. Our hero was tense and realized that the dart shots could continue. Grabbing his companion tighter, Yang Cheng jumped high up above the crowd. Being up above, the guy noticed another dart flying in their direction. Yang Cheng remembered about the white milk ball and thought that it didn't give any power today, so it didn't work. Yang Cheng stretched his hand forward, grabbing this dart as well. Using his abilities, Yang Cheng snapped the deadly weapon in half. Being up in the air, Yang Cheng saw the gunman. He was hiding behind a tree with a crossbow. Lowering himself to the ground, the guy told the girl to stay here and not go anywhere. Yang Cheng ran in the direction where the gunshots were coming from. Yang Cheng caught up to the gunman and grabbed him by the scruff of his neck, throwing him to the ground. The bodyguard cracked the crossbow with his foot. With a punch to the stomach, the gunman was deactivated. The boy looked around. There were a lot of people here. A change of scenery was needed. The mercenary threw a sharp object at our hero. However, Yang Chung calmly dodged. The perpetrator did not want to give up and pulled a gun out of his pocket. Yang Chung disarmed the rogue with a kick of his foot. Yang Chung said to the gunman, if he was strong, if he wasn't a mercenary sent to destroy the girl, they could become friends, and inquired who sent the gunman. The mercenary pulled a capsule out of his pocket and said there was nothing to be gained from it. Yang Chung kept asking, was this guy hired, or is he just resentful and wants to destroy the girl on his own? Yang Chung said for the mercenary to confess, or he would make the criminal wish for his own demise. The mercenary opened the capsule, and our hero, seeing it, decided to take it away. However, the shooter managed to pour the contents of the capsule into his mouth. He fell to the ground and foamed from his mouth. Yang Chung thought, what could have made this guy take such a step? After searching the perpetrator's body, our hero found nothing. There was nothing to help him realize who he was. Yang Chung thought that it would not be easy for him in the future. The bodyguard returned to his ward. The girl asked what had happened to the mercenary. Had he escaped, or had he been destroyed? At the girl's house, her mother asked how Yang Chung was feeling. The young man replied that he was not injured. Mrs. Chu noticed that this guy acts professionally. Xuanlin waved her hands and said that if Yang Chung had always been here, she wouldn't have been captured. Mrs. Chu replied that this was very naive. Even though this guy may be strong, but he wouldn't be able to always be around. Wenling told her mother that if she was destined to live a short life, even without the attack, she would have died long ago. But she had a long road ahead of her, and mercenaries are not able to change the will of fate. Mrs. Chu wondered what kind of nonsense her daughter was talking about. Yang Chung decided that he needed to increase his attentiveness and be more careful. Mrs. Chu said it was getting late, and her daughter could go to bed. She told the young man to follow her. He has to wait a little while for her to change her clothes. Mrs. Chu appeared in a tracksuit. The woman, starting to warm up, said she'd be honest. She was a little worried. She used to think it would be so much easier, but now she's so scared. She is worried about her daughter. Yang Chung said to Mrs. Chu not to worry. He would do everything to keep Xuanlin out of danger. The woman said she must have been a sinner in the past. Now she constantly senses when something bad is coming. Yang Chung was surprised when the interlocutor characterized herself like this, a sinner. The rector addressed the students gathered in the conference hall. The speaker said that today's general university meeting was organized thanks to a young man. He asked Yang Chung to come up to the podium. Our hero thought that an unpleasant event was about to begin. What good could the principal say about him? The rector said that Yang Chung, like all students, is obliged to abide by the rules set by the university. Covering the microphone with his hand, the man said that this guy would be held accountable for the fight that happened. Since this is his first offense, he suspends the young man for 6 months on a sabbatical. He will stay at home and come to his senses. The students present in the hall started shouting that it was unfair. The teacher said that the rector was not aware of what really happened. If the rector doesn't like Yang Chung, that's no reason to suspend him. Our hero told the teacher not to stand up for him, otherwise she might get hurt too. The rector told Miss Luo to watch her words and not to challenge the management's decision. Xuanlin went to the podium and told the rector that none of this was true. The girl said that Mr. Rector just dislikes Yang Chung, so he doesn't want to look into anything. He punishes the innocent. This person should be removed from his position as principal right now. The man said it was Yang Chung's rabid classmate throwing herself at the teachers. Yang Chung picked up the girl under his arm and dragged her off the podium and into the hall. Xuanling said that after saying such words to the rector, she didn't respect him and left as well. Yang Chung and Xuanlin were leaving the university campus. An old acquaintance appeared from around the corner. She appeared very suddenly, and our hero, mistaking her appearance for a possible attack, swung around to kick her. The girl told Brother Yan that it had been so long since they had seen each other, and he was going to fight. Yang Chung smiled and said that he was mistaken and didn't recognize her at all. Xuanlin was surprised. Who the hell is this? Yang Chung decided to introduce the girls. He said that this was Xiao Jie. They used to work together. And this is Xuanlin, his classmate. Xiaoji said that she had been looking for Yang Chung for a long time, but all without result, and now they met by chance. The guy asked how things were going at work. No one is hurting? Xiaoji said she received her paycheck and wondered if they could go out to celebrate. They can have lunch together and talk. Yang Chung agreed. Xuanlin was surprised since he was just about to walk her home. He shouldn't forget his responsibilities. Yang Sheng told the old acquaintance that he would walk his classmate home and she would decide where they would go. Xiaoji said she would write down where she would wait for the young man. Sometime later, our hero and his old acquaintance met in a small restaurant. Xiaoji asked her interlocutor, was it his girlfriend? Yang Cheng replied that it was just a classmate. Xiaoji confessed that they didn't meet by chance, she had one thing to do. Xiaoji stated that she received her paycheck today and immediately quit. Yang Sheng wondered, why did she do that? The girl thanked the interlocutor for helping her find a job. Everything was fine, but her boss often harassed her. She couldn't bear it anymore, so she quit her job. Yang Cheng asked her where she planned to go now. Xiaojie replied that she didn't know yet. Our hero offered to become his assistant when he started his business. Xiaojie agreed and added that she was ready to work for him, even for free. Yang Cheng thought that he would be perfect for detective work, as his obvious advantages were agility and X-ray vision. Yang Cheng said he would be a private investigator and she would handle business contacts and publicity. Xiaojie rejoiced knowing this guy. She thinks that they are definitely going to be a success. Our hero was in Mrs. Chu's house when a guest entered it. Yang Cheng asked who she was. The girl said she was the new driver. That was very unusual. Mrs. Chu said that's right. They say this girl is a great driver. Shenlin wondered, what about the past driver? After all, he hadn't worked for long, but he was a great driver. Lady Chu replied that the previous driver was worried about his safety, and that's why he quit. It must have been clear to him. The landlady told the girl to start her work from the next day and asked her name. The guest replied that her name was Lin Pan and offered to start work from today. Mrs. Chu agreed and said that the mansion is at her disposal. She thinks Lin Pan will have something to talk about with the young people. Lin Pan thanked and said that she would take her things to the room provided for her. Mrs. Chu asked the bodyguard what he would say about this girl. Yang Cheng replied that this girl didn't look much like the driver. The landlady agreed and said that all she needed from this girl was the ability to drive. Our hero was afraid to imagine what awaited him in a house with 3 women. Xuanlin asked her mother, why would she want such a seductive female driver? Mrs. Chu asked her daughter, is she jealous? Wenlin replied that she was worried that there would be no peace in the house because of this female driver. Mrs. Chu told the young people if they were no longer studying, then they could rest easy. Madam Chu added that something terrible happened in China the day before. Everyone is extremely concerned. Caution should be exercised. The landlady added that there have been a number of terrorist attacks recently. A witness said that the violent crime was committed by a man in a black cloak. He was moving very fast. It is noteworthy that all the victims had their carotid artery bitten. Wenlin wondered, so all these people died from blood loss? Isn't that the zombie style of attack? Lady Chu told her daughter to stop talking nonsense. Zombies don't exist. However, one should be careful when outdoors. Yang Sheng thought that everything indicated that the crime was committed by zombies. Among them, he only knew Xian Ling. Could it be her? That night before she left a scroll. Could Xiang Ling be the culprit? Our hero extended his hand to Lin Pan and said that it looks like they are now neighbors. He was pleased to meet him. The girl didn't even turn around in response. The guy asked why she was being so rude. She could have at least responded to the greeting. Lin Pan inquired, what does the guy expect? Hi, nice to meet you. What's his name? Something like that? Yang Cheng thought that there was a lot of coldness in this girl's words. The guy replied that the girl was good. His name is Yang Cheng. He added that he liked her figure. After leaving the room, our hero came face to face with Xuan Ling. The girl said that her bodyguard had become much cooler. Yang Sheng told the girl to stop saying that. Fighting with her would not make him admit defeat. Yang Cheng told Xuan Ling to stay home and rest. He, on the other hand, is going out on business. The girl said that she would follow him. Yang Cheng replied that he was on a secret mission. On the phone, our hero was told that everything would be finalized in the afternoon. The name of the agency is Sale. He will be given the address later. He should arrive tomorrow. Yang Cheng and Xiaoji stood in the center of the city and looked at the huge building. The guy said that it would have their name on it. The girl asked, what kind of name? And how many workers is he going to hire? Yang Cheng replied that the agency would be called Private Investigations, and there would be 2 employees for now, just the 2 of them. Yang Cheng said that the girl would be the internal boss and he would be the external boss. Her job would be to distribute advertisements, liaise with customers. He would handle everything else. Xiaoji thanked her brother. Yang Cheng said that if Xiaojai wanted to please him, She just had to be a good boss. The girl blushed with embarrassment, her tears flowed, and she promised to try harder. Yang Cheng felt satisfied. He had finally found a job for Xiaojie. While walking along the deserted road, Yang Cheng heard cries for help. Towards Yang Cheng appeared frightened townspeople. They were running away from where our hero was heading. Yang Cheng saw the monster catching up to some girl. The monster grabbed the girl's hand, and Yang Cheng thought it was a monster. The guy yelled for this monster to let the girl go and immediately rushed to her aid. Yang Cheng ran closer and attacked the zombie with his foot. The blow was ineffective. The guy thought this zombie had really tough skin. The zombie wouldn't let the girl out of his arms, and our hero decided to attack the monster again. The monster bit the girl's neck and started sucking her blood. The guy made sure it was really a zombie. Yang Cheng noted that he and this zombie were completely different from each other. Perhaps he is a dark zombie. The protagonist called out to this monster and waved at it. The zombie threw the girl to the ground and looked at the guy. The monster with its glowing eyes assessed his opponent from head to toe. The boy was frightened. This monster could laugh. The zombie looked at the young man and said, "Bloody flesh!" He turned toward the girl again. The zombie and our hero looked into each other's eyes. The guy remembered that Xian Ling had talked about him possessing blood flesh. But what did that mean? Yang Cheng stretched his hand forward and asked. Yang Cheng asked how the zombie knew about blood flesh. He didn't have time to say anything as the monster pounced on him. The guy thought this zombie was too aggressive. Yang Cheng got into hand-to-hand combat and tried to deactivate his opponent. The zombie didn't give up either, so Yang Cheng continued to defend himself. Our hero grabbed the monster by the arms. The zombie growled loudly. The guy thought that his opponent was trying to destroy him with his scent. The roar was so strong that Yang Cheng was blown away by the wind. Falling to the ground, the man thought, "This zombie's breath stinks like a garbage can." Yang Cheng rose to his feet and decided to continue the confrontation. The guy realized that this couldn't go on much longer. The question of how to finish off this zombie had to be solved. Yang Cheng thought that he would not be able to defeat his opponent in close combat. There was only one option left. At that moment, the zombie jumped high up. Yang Cheng jumped even higher. He realized that his opponent had been caught. What was he hoping for? The bodyguard pointed his hand with a white spot on his palm at his opponent and activated the moonblade. At the same moment, a strong light beam struck the zombie's chest. The zombie with the smoking hole in his chest continued to snarl viciously and glower at our hero. Yang Cheng didn't understand how this monster was able to survive the moonblade. Was it really that strong? The zombie lunged at his opponent again. Yang Cheng shouted for the zombie to stop. However, the monster continued to attack. Zombie got within striking distance and delivered a staggering leg kick to the chest of his opponent. Bleeding, Yang Cheng fell with his back on the ground. The zombie swung once more and struck our hero in the chest with his fist. Yang Cheng felt a dull pain in his chest. The boy thought his ribs were broken. The monster was right on top of him. The strength was leaving the protagonist. He thought, "Is this really the end?" The young man opened his eyes. He realized that it was too early to die. The zombie bent over him lower and lower and repeated that he was hungry. Yang Cheng told himself that he wasn't broken yet and clenched his hand into a fist. Gathering the last of his strength, he gave the zombie a powerful punch right in the chest. The impact was so strong that the monster flew far back. Yang Cheng looked at his hand. He couldn't believe that he was able to utilize the Milky Ball's energy. Rising to his feet, Yang Cheng decided that it was time to leave before the zombie woke up. The zombie lay on his back with a smoking chest wound and growled in pain. Yang Cheng tried to walk home. The lad thought that as soon as he got home, he would thank his savior with a bottle of first-class wine. Yang Cheng noticed that he no longer felt any pain. What had happened to him? Our hero looked at his hands and saw that the wounds on his arms were also gone. There were no wound marks on his chest either. The guy was as good as new. Could he be regenerating? Yang Cheng assumed that this was the effect of the zombie's body. Yang Cheng saw the man begging for alms again. Yang Cheng said hello to the elder. The man asked, "Is the fellow injured?" Yang Cheng replied that he was fine, he was just tired. The old man said they needed to say goodbye. The young man asked his interlocutor, "Did something bad happen? If you need help, I'm always here for you." The man smiled and said that the boy was really too kind. The beggar said that to judge a man's nature by his personality is too absurd and careless. The man thanked the guy for his help and gave him a trinket he had picked up. He asked to keep it as a souvenir. He should wear it until he got tired of it. It was a bamboo stick on a string. Yang Cheng put the item around his neck and thanked him for the gift. The old man, rising up, told the boy to keep the gift. It would protect him from evil things. Yang Cheng said he liked it and offered the beggar some money. The old man waved his hand and said he didn't need the money. The boy had already given him a great gift. Walking away, the man asked what the guy's name was. The guy told the old man that his name was Yang Cheng. The old man said it was a great name. The world is vast. He thought they would meet again. Yang Cheng waved his hand at the departing old man and wished him good luck. Xuanling threateningly told her bodyguard to immediately confess where he was. Seeing the blood on the guy's clothes, she was startled and asked if Yang Cheng was okay. Yang Cheng replied that he was fine. He got into a fight with some bad guys and their blood got on his clothes. He's not really hurt. The girl lowered her eyes and realized there was no point in further questioning. Xuanling inquired if her bodyguard had gone to the Dragon Gang. Yang Cheng smiled and asked, "Is the girl really worried about him?" Xuanling replied that she wasn't worried. She is just afraid that if he dies, no one will be able to protect her. Yang Cheng said that he understood everything. He must be thinking too much. The guy added that he would go to his room. Xuanling said, and really wondered what he was thinking. Will Li Yang Cheng tell his thoughts? Yang Cheng wondered why he had to talk about it. The bodyguard inquired, "What happened to the driver yesterday?" Xuanling inquired, "Is this about Lin Pan?" The girl said Lin Pan had some problems at home. She would be there tomorrow. The bodyguard asked if Mrs. Chu had checked the identity of the new driver. Xuanling replied that the inspection had been done. She heard that Lin Pan was an orphan. She grew up in an orphanage. Yang Cheng wondered if she grew up in an orphanage. Why did she say something happened at her home? Xuanling asked what kind of thing the guy had hanging around his neck. Yang Cheng replied that it was a pendant, a gift from a friend. The interlocutor held out her hand and asked to see this pendant. She looked at this trinket and said that this pendant was beautiful. Can the guy give it to her? Yang Cheng apologized and said that he wouldn't give this one away, but he could buy her another one. Xuanling was upset. Was this pendant really a woman's gift? Yang Cheng explained that he got the pendant from an elderly mister. Wenlin told the bodyguard to keep this pendant. In his room, the protagonist looked at the milky white ball, said it had gotten small again. It was probably because he had used too much of its energy. Yang Cheng thanked the milky ball, for it had saved his life today. Therefore, the balloon could ask for anything. The milky white ball got excited when it was offered a drink of wine. Our hero didn't understand where this balloon came from, why he was drinking so much wine, why his liver hadn't fallen off yet. Yang Cheng decided to let the balloon drink until it was happy. But the balloon should try harder in the future anyway. They want to improve their relationship after all. A lot of alcohol was drunk this time. Yang Cheng said that the balloon could drink as much as he wanted. No one would take it away from him. Yang Cheng remembered the battle with the dark zombie and thought that it was very strong and could not be defeated now. However, if it was not destroyed, it would pose a threat to the townspeople. Yang Cheng thought if he wanted to destroy the zombie, he needed to become stronger. He took out the ancient beast skin scroll again. The boy unrolled the scroll and again studied the information that was on it. Our hero thought maybe he should be in the sun, but zombies are most afraid of its rays. The other drawing had something that looked like rainwater harvesting. Another drawing showed something that looked like a glade of fire. Also on the scroll was a warrior with a weapon in his hands. Yang Cheng felt like a person who has a safe full of money but doesn't know the password. What is it? The next day came. After waking up, our hero was diligently brushing his teeth. A furious Xuanling burst into the bathroom. Yang Cheng asked who allowed her to enter here without knocking. The girl saw the bodyguard in his underwear and lowered her eyes in embarrassment. She asked him to take her to the library. Yang Cheng inquired why she was going there. The girl replied, "Less talking, more doing." Lin Pan said if Xuanling was going to the library, she would take them there. Yang Cheng went to the window and thought that now he was not afraid of the sun. Our hero thanked the white milk ball. After a battle with a dark zombie and further merging with a milk ball, he doesn't know how he will react to the sun. While in the shade, the guy put his hand out into the sun. Nothing changed. Is it no longer affected by sunlight? Xuanlin, watching the bodyguard through the window, asked, "What is he doing?" "He looks like a dummy who is standing with his arm outstretched." Yang Cheng completely stepped out of the shadows into the sun. Nothing happened. The guy thought that, unlike last time, he was wearing a pendant. Maybe we should try taking it off. Yang Cheng hung the pendant on the tree and remained standing under the sun. His body began to sizzle and smoke. Xuanlin asked the bodyguard, "What is he doing? Why is his hand smoking?" Yang Cheng said that the girl had imagined it. How could the hand be smoking? Lin Pan picked up the pendant hanging on the tree. Yang Cheng took the pendant away from the girl. When asked what it was, he said it was a gift from a friend. Our hero thought it was his treasure, and if he wore it, he wouldn't be afraid of the sunlight. As they drove up to the library, Lin Pan said that she would wait for her hostess in the car. Lin said that Lin Pan could take a walk. When they were about to leave, she would be called. After getting out of the car, our hero said that this is unfair. Why is Lin always being so rude to him, while this Lin Pan is always polite to him? The girl replied that she was annoyed by the bodyguard. In the library, at the exit of the elevator, there was a group of suspicious people in front of our heroes. One of them held a photograph in his hand. The stranger showed our hero the photo and asked if he knew this woman. Lo Bin was in the photo. Yang Chen thought that perhaps her father had offended some brigands again. As he continued to move towards his intended goal, the guy said that unfortunately, he had not met such a woman. The villain said he didn't know where the woman was, but if he found her, she would be in trouble. Our hero heard those words. Yang Cheng thought that things were not all that calm in the library right now. The villain approached our heroes again and asked why this girl looked so familiar. The villain added that he had seen her somewhere before. He remembered, after all, this is the lady from the E family. Here they met again. Since he can't find Luo Bin, he could bring this girl. Yang Cheng asked these guys, are they from the Lun Shou gang? The bandit was indignant. What right did he have to ask who they were? Our hero asked if these scoundrels knew who saved this girl last time. The bandit said that this matter was no one's concern. His colleague took a closer look at Yang Cheng and seemed to remember him. Yang Cheng said that it was him and immediately punched one of the bandits in the jaw with his fist. Our hero began to beat the criminals methodically. He told the girl to go ahead. He would catch up with her later. One of the villains, who recognized our hero, said that this is the real devil. It is urgent to run away from here. This is not a human being. The guy decided to leave the scene of the fight and thought he wouldn't mess with Lun Shou again. After a short time, Yang Cheng deactivated all the criminals. The stranger, holding books in his hand, asked fearfully for help. Yang Cheng walked up to the man and told him to shut up. He's just looking for someone here. The frightened reader was sitting on the floor with books scattered around him. Yang Cheng calmly entered the elevator. Xuanlin asked the bodyguard if he was all right. Yang Cheng took the girl by the hand and said that they should leave. They can't stay here. Xuanlin said that they didn't warn Lin Pan that they were done. The bodyguard said that to ensure the girl's safety, they needed to go to a place that only they knew about. Wenlin agreed and said that in that case, she would call the driver now. Yang Cheng said that he would help the girl get there himself. Wenlin wondered, how were they going to get anywhere now? Yang Cheng tore off a piece of his t-shirt. The guy blindfolded the girl with this piece of cloth. He told her to trust him. He would explain everything later. No peeking. The young man put the girl on his back. Xuanlin said that he promised to tell everything later. Yang Cheng should keep his word. Yang Cheng pushed off from the ground and they began their journey through the air. The girl thought there was a very strong wind blowing in her face. No one would notice if she took a quick glance and lifted the blindfold from her eyes. Yang Cheng asked, is Xuanling really peeping? The girl pulled the blindfold over her eyes and said that he had imagined it. She felt a great speed and couldn't realize who her bodyguard really was. Yang Cheng arrived at the large office building and said that they were in place. Xuanling got permission to remove the blindfold and opened her eyes. Xuanlin saw that she was standing in front of a huge building made of concrete and glass. The girl asked where they were now. Yang Cheng said that was a silly question. She only needs to know what is written here. Xiaoji greeted Brother Yang as he and his companion entered his office. Xuanlin looked at Xiaojie and said that she had seen this girl somewhere in the school. Why did Yang Cheng bring her here? Yang Cheng walked over to Xiaojie and said that he had some explaining to do. With an angry expression, Xuanlin yelled at her bodyguard again. How dare he ignore her? Yang Cheng will put this girl here, and later Ms. Luo Bin will come over here. Our hero says it's time to punish the Moonshine Gang. Xiaojie said that it was very dangerous to go there alone. Our hero said their meeting was inevitable. Better to attack first than to defend. Xuanlin said that if he didn't succeed, the problems wouldn't end. Yang Cheng agreed with this statement. The protagonist said that in any case, these villains should be wiped out once and for all. Xuanlin said, that's not what she meant. It was about how it was very dangerous to go there alone. Yang Cheng said for the girls to stay here. He'll pick up Ms. Lobin at the hotel. At the hotel, Ms. Lobin wondered what was the rush. Is something wrong? Yang Cheng said he would take her to a safe place. Now the Moon Shou Gang is searching the whole city for her. Li Bin inquired, what is the guy going to do? The protagonist told the teacher not to worry. He'll take care of everything. During the course of the investigation, our hero learned the whereabouts of several important figures of the Luncho gang. Yang Chung watched the house of one of the criminals from hiding. The girl sitting near the fat man said that this guy was a terrible ladies' man. There were several bodyguards nearby. This criminal had all sorts of fun in clubs at night, and during the day he rested in his villa. The leader of the White Elephant gang spent 2/3 of his time either at hot springs or in saunas. Because of the Black Dragon's large number of doppelgangers, no one knows its whereabouts. Unclenching his fists, our hero thought he would have something to do today. The fat man was lying in bed with his arms spread out in different directions. There were 2 girls next to him. Yang Chung jumped onto the second-floor balcony of this building without much difficulty. Looking through the window, the young man saw this character who was sleeping carefree in the arms of 2 beauties. Upon waking up, the bandit started talking to the girls about something. Suddenly, the door to the balcony opened and a young man entered, coughing to attract attention. The fat man and the girls were frightened. The bandit asked the unknown man who he was and how he got here. Yang Chung replied that it didn't matter who he was, but if the opponent wanted to live, he would have to answer a few questions. The fat man jumped to his feet and grabbed his gun. The criminal aimed at his opponent and said no questions asked. This scoundrel was doomed. The bandit told the girls to stop screaming in fear. Yang Chung said that nothing would happen even if that fatty tried to shoot. It would only hurt him. Villain fired a few shots at his opponent. Did this guy really think he wouldn't dare to shoot? Nothing changed. The unknown man continued to stand there as if nothing had happened. The guy said he warned you, he's indestructible. The fat man kept shooting. He shouted that he wouldn't give up so easily. Yang Chung swung his foot and said that this incomprehensible fatty was making him angry. The perpetrator dropped his weapon and fell to the floor. He clutched his jaw and screamed in pain. Yang Chung approached his opponent and said that the bandit did not understand something. The questions will be asked to him. If they don't like the answers, the fat man can only change to himself. The perpetrator was scared and said he would tell all. Yang Chung asked where the Black Dragon was. The fat man replied that he didn't know. Yang Chung grabbed his opponent's leg and started twisting it. The fatty cried out in pain and claimed that he really didn't know anything. Usually at this time, the Black Dragon is on the upper floor of the Zhuan Yuan building. Our hero interjected, "Fatty is sure it's the same Black Dragon?" The bandit, fearing for his leg, said that it was indeed a Black Dragon. Who else could it be but him? Yang Chung grabbed the fatty by the throat and asked why he hadn't mentioned it before. The fatty replied that he wasn't sure if it was him either. It could be his doppelganger or something like that. Our hero said that with his experience, Fatty would be able to identify a true Black Dragon. The criminal, while enduring the pain in his leg, said that the real Black Dragon had a black bandage the size of a coin on his belt. The Black Dragon said it was a symbol of good luck, so he wouldn't take it off. Yang Chung warned the fat man about the consequences of deception. The bandit replied that he wouldn't dare to speak untruthfully. The guy lastly kicked his opponent in the chest. The perpetrator smashed his head into the wall and lost consciousness. Yang Chung headed to his new address. He thought that there had been another useless outing. Now he should visit Baixian Tang. At the entrance, our hero was met by a girl. She asked if the handsome man would give her some time. Yang Chung replied that he didn't have time. He was looking for someone here. By the elevator, our hero was met by another girl. She asked for help. The girl tearfully said that her older brother had been kidnapped by Adang and was promised to be destroyed if she did not give in to their entreaties. Yang Chung wiped the girl's tears and said that he would deal with the matter. She should stay here. Her brother will be saved. On one of the upper floors, the guards wondered what this guy was doing here. No ordinary people are allowed in here. In one of the offices, the bandit, sitting at his desk, told the interlocutor that he had already given him a lot of money. The man told the boss not to be angry with him, for he had done his best. The boss, lighting a cigarette, said that he had heard that his interlocutor's son was studying abroad quite well. He wants to meet this talent. The man bowed and told the boss that it was a common misunderstanding. This time, he would make the best of it. The guard reported something to the boss and he jumped up from the table, telling everyone to get ready to greet the guest. The bandits drew their guns and aimed at the front doors. Shots rang out, and the bandits dropped every clip of ammunition through those doors. The riddled doors swung open, and our hero appeared before the criminals, holding one of the villains in front of him as a shield. Yang Chung kicked the door hanging nearby, and it struck one criminal as it flew aside.
The boss looked at the fallen bodyguard and swore.
The bandit leader pulled out a large-caliber machine gun from under the table. The villain pointed this weapon at our hero and said, "This guy's gonna die today." In the next instant, Yang Cheng was already beside the criminal. He asked, "Did this guy think he was stronger with a gun in his hand?" The bandit leader wondered who this guy was. After all, they are not enemies. Yang Cheng said that his opponent was talking utter nonsense, especially after firing a clip from a machine gun at him. Our hero was surrounded by bandits pointing guns at him. They told him to get away from their boss immediately. The bandit leader asked what this guy wanted. He's willing to make a deal. One of the thugs wouldn't stop. He was telling the guy to get away from his boss immediately. The head thug was telling the guy to calm down. They're gonna work things out. The criminals couldn't understand why this young man wouldn't succumb to their bullets. Yang Cheng picked up a cartridge from the floor and threw it at one of the bandits. He was hit in the chest and blood appeared on his body. Yang Cheng said that if someone dared to threaten him, he would end up just like this guy. The bandits figured that no amount of money would make them want to become opponents of this demon. The protagonist asked the bandit leader where the Black Dragon was now. The frightened bandit said that he knows where the Black Dragon's doppelganger is, but the location of the Black Dragon itself is unknown to him. Yang Cheng thought that Brother Zhu and Adang were telling the truth. Our hero asked the criminal where his doppelganger was. The bandit said that the Black Dragon's doppelganger was now in Jutang's underground casino. Yang Cheng told his opponent to pray that when he got there, the doppelganger was still there. The bandit promised not to inform anyone about what happened here. Yang Cheng said that he would leave his opponent the same gift as Brother Zhu. A leg kick to the chest from protagonist sent his opponent crashing to the mat. Yang Cheng thought that the dream of a casino had resurfaced again. Yang Cheng stood in front of the casino's entrance. The sunlight was not a problem for him now. The guy walked into the lobby of the building and was surprised that the place was empty. He thought that something was wrong here. After all, there should be a lot of guards here, but there were none. Using his unique vision, our hero determined that he was in the crosshairs and that there were many armed men around. Good thing he noticed it in time. The opponents are even using rocket launchers. The shooters were nervous as to why this guy wasn't getting to the line of scrimmage. Their legs were already numb. One of the gunmen said he heard that this guy is just a demon and he destroys people with one punch. The man with the machine gun smiled. How could anyone believe in such fairy tales? Yang Cheng climbed up the building from the outside. To avoid the armed guys, he'd better find another way. What's more, a rocket launcher isn't something that's easy to deal with. Yang Cheng broke the glass from the outside and got inside. The criminal in the bed jumped up and asked why this guy was here. Yang Cheng smiled. Why do all gangsters like to ask this question? Our hero hit the villain and he fell to the floor. The guy said that the opponent should understand why he came here and asked where the man was. The bandit asked who he was talking about. He didn't understand anything. Suddenly a shot rang out and a bullet struck the outlaw in the shoulder. There was an armed man in the room. It was the bandit's bodyguard. The villain wondered who this guy was shooting at. The guard apologized and told the boss that he was shooting at that guy. Our hero asked the bandit if he wanted his guard shot again. The villain said not to be so impertinent. In any case, he wouldn't get out of here alive. Yang Cheng said he was willing to give it a try. The perp pushed the guy and told him to go to hell. At that moment, the bodyguard opened fire to kill him. Yang Cheng was able to change the trajectory of the bullet with his finger, and it flew into the bandit. Another bullet hit the villain, this time in the leg. The perpetrator fell to the floor and screamed in pain. Yang Cheng said that it was just a failure and suggested that he try again. The villain thought he now understands why Black Dragon sent him this beauty to relax. He's afraid that these might be his last minutes. The perp said to make the guy feel sorry for him. He's ready to talk. Yang Cheng reminded his opponent not to tell him tall tales. The time he has is already running out. It was a tense situation in the Detective Institute. The girls were not finding a place to be. The teacher told Xuanlin not to worry. Yang Cheng will be fine. Xuanlin said that her bodyguard has no chance. The Black Dragon's strength is unbelievable. Xiaoji was indignant. How could this girl say such a thing? After all, Yang Cheng had always protected her. Xuanlin said that it was his job to protect her and wondered why Xiaoji kept calling this guy brother. What kind of relationship are they in? Xiaoji replied that it was none of her business. The wounded criminal was ready to tell our hero everything he knows. Yang Cheng saw that a rocket projectile had been fired at them. With a few leaps, Yang Cheng moved to a safe distance. The bandit was unable to do so. The next instant, a massive explosion rang out. The bandits with guns were outraged. Is someone trying to destroy them? One of the criminals promised that he would fight to the end, and his colleagues supported him. Two armed groups started shooting at each other. Yang Chung, hiding in cover, thought that this firefight couldn't last long. By intervening in this confrontation, our hero wiped out everyone who was still standing by this time. A few bandits survived, but also afraid of retaliation, dropped their weapons and fled. Looking at this battle, our hero thought that the Black Dragon must be somewhere nearby. Yang Chung saw the stranger and asked, "Does he really want to die? Stop standing there and blocking the passage." Under this man's clothes, our hero saw some kind of black mark. Yang Chung noted to himself that his assumption was correct. Yang Chung stopped the guy and said that he was the first one to confront him and whether the guy wanted to apologize. The opponent agreed and said that they would talk later if the guy could survive. The young man passed on, and two opponents with clubs and brass knuckles in their hands appeared before our hero. Several grenade launchers were aimed at the protagonist. The guy took off his cap and said that this bodyguard is really strong, but this time he won't stand a chance. Shots rang out and the shells flew straight at Yang Cheng. The smoke and flames made it impossible to see anything. The girls flinched at the explosion. It couldn't be an earthquake, could it? Xiaoji agreed that this shuddering was unlike an earthquake. Xiaoji said that she is scared. She feels like it has something to do with Yang Cheng. Shunlin crossed her arms in front of her and asked for her bodyguard to be all right. When the smoke cleared, everyone saw the ruins. The building was destroyed. The guy with the black mark on his back said that no matter how strong his opponent was, he would never survive something like that. The assistant, turning to the man, said that their boss was undoubtedly the strongest. There is really no surviving after something like that. Suddenly, our hero appeared behind the backs of his opponents. He asked if it was too early for them to start celebrating. The bandit boss turned around, and Yang Chung asked him, was he really surprised that his rival was still alive? The bandit with the grenade launcher on his shoulder yelled for this guy to get away from his boss immediately. Yang Chung turned around and deactivated the villain with the grenade launcher with a kick to the jaw. Yang Chung asked the other bandits if they had the same stupid ideas. Our hero grabbed the guy with the black mark on his back by the chest and said he was ready to play. He asked the audience how he should punish their boss. The witnesses of the incident were wondering, why did that guy look so much like Hei Long? Could it be the notorious leader of the Black Dragon gang? Yang Chung kneels down in front of his opponent and asks the armed criminals, why don't they have any ideas? If they took the initiative, he promised to forget all their bad deeds they had done before. One of the guards threw a rock at the kneeling boss. This perp said he'd had enough.
He added that Heidong forced him to pay off his debt by threatening to kill his younger sister. He hates his boss too. He won't rest until he has skinned him and ripped out all his tendons.
Some of the criminals started telling similar stories about how much they hated their boss. The guy on his knees lifted his head up and laughed. He said that these people were very funny. The boss said these guys are so eager to get rid of their problems that they picked the wrong team. The villain rose to his feet and asked our hero if the guy really thought nothing was known about his secret. Yang Chen kicked the villain in the jaw, and he flew far back. At the same time, the protagonist was surprised. After this attack, he lost 80% of all his stored energy. What's going on? Suddenly, in response, Yang Chen received a powerful charge of energy directly into his abdomen. He also flew far backwards. Hei Long stood as if nothing had happened, surrounded by a glowing ribbon. The villain asked, was the Blood Soul's body really that powerful? However, in the end, they had only just begun. Yang Chen thought, who is this guy? How could an ordinary person master magic? Hei Long said that he should thank his opponent. If it wasn't for his crazy abilities, he doesn't think the clan would have allowed him to use this power. Even if he fights with Yang Cheng not at full strength, it is now very easy. The bandit boss pointed at his traitorous subordinates and said that they too would all die. The bandits got scared and said they didn't want that outcome. Yang Cheng rose to his feet and said that he was already tired of listening to so many worthless words. Our hero said that was enough. He gave him enough time. Hei Long attacked our hero, but Yang Cheng grabbed his opponent's fist and deactivated his attack. The villain wondered, how could this be possible? Yang Cheng asked the caller, it seemed like he didn't practice this technique often. The protagonist grabbed his opponent's arm and pulled him to the ground. Yang Cheng held his opponent's hand and stepped on his back with his foot, asking if he was currently using that hand to activate a spell. The bodyguard kicked his opponent in the chest and said he was annoyed with him. Yang Cheng said that at first he thought that the opponent might be strong, but it seems that this was not the case. Yang Cheng, turning to the bandits, said that the Black Dragon had been destroyed. If they are not going to do any more foolish things, their past sins can be forgotten. One of the criminals told Yang Cheng to stop talking too much, looked around. Behind our hero's back, Hei Long emerged from the ruins. He said that he didn't want to use this trick, but he must destroy his opponent today, otherwise he couldn't return to the clan. Yang Cheng thought that this could end badly and shouted for everyone present to scatter immediately. The observers were surprised. Are they in danger? After all, they were standing so far away. Hei Long began to raise stones in the air and aim them at his opponent. However, the accuracy of the flights was low, and the stones flew in different directions. In addition to stones, our hero was flying glowing ribbons, which also posed a certain danger. Yang Cheng realized that something had to be done immediately, or else he would die. Suddenly, the protagonist saw before him the vague outline of some man in red. Opening his eyes, the guy saw that it was an immortal goddess. She shielded our hero from the stones. The girls in the office were worried. What was that explosion? The most important thing was that Yang Cheng was not hurt. Juanlin told the girls that the guy would be fine. Teacher said that this girl was right. They should have faith in Yang Cheng. He will definitely come back. Yang Cheng inquired, what happened to the immortal goddess? The woman replied to our hero that she would deal with him later. Hei Long was surprised and asked who she was. The immortal goddess took him by the throat and lifted him up. He wheezed and said that he was Mao Shan's disciple. If she destroyed him, she would not live either. The woman wondered, after thousands of years, had his clan fallen to such a state? The zombie woman threw him far back. The immortal goddess told the bandits to call their boss here and get lost. The criminals were frightened and ran away. Each of them shouted that they would never come back to the criminal path again. Yang Cheng didn't even realize that the Black Dragon could end up like this. The woman in red approached the protagonist. The boy thanked her for her help. The immortal goddess abruptly swept her hand near Yang Cheng's neck and left a scratch on his body. There was blood coming out of the scratch. The girl licked her bloody finger and said the taste hadn't changed. Those watching were surprised. What had happened? Where did this woman come from? Yang Cheng scratched the back of his head. He didn't understand how this happened either. The woman angrily asked, does he really have the conscience to ask questions? The immortal goddess said that she was almost destroyed by a third-rate Taoist priest. If it wasn't for Bloodsoul's body, she wouldn't have even looked at him. Yang Cheng started to make excuses and said that he had never seen a Taoist priest before. No one had talked about it. The immortal goddess looked at the protagonist and asked if he meant to say she was at fault. It should remind the guy of the recent notoriety. The Taoist priest Mao Shan made a move, so the guy should beware. Our hero has heard of Mao Shan, but what does a Taoist priest have to do with it? Is it all because he's a zombie? The people of the town were glad the battle was over. Thank the leader, they had survived. The townspeople cried with happiness. Now everything would be all right. Now no one would mistreat them anymore. However, where did those two go? Where's the guy and the unknown woman in red? They were never thanked. Yang Cheng and the woman in red quickly left the scene of the battle. The immortal goddess asked, why is the guy leaving so quickly? Doesn't he like being a hero? Yang Cheng replied that he didn't want to be a hero. The woman inquired, didn't Yang Cheng understand anything? The guy asked, what is it about? The woman said that there might be something spiritual in his body. This time, when he is in danger, that object did not appear. Didn't he have any questions about it? Yang Cheng wondered, how did she know about this? Somewhere in the gorges our hero stopped. The woman wondered, why did he do that? The immortal goddess said that she could feel the spirit in his body. The boy wondered, what kind of spirit is this? The woman said that the spirit absorbed the energy of the sun and moon. Normal people could get half of its power when they practiced. Yang Cheng wondered, how could a spirit team up with a zombie? The female companion explained that it was all about his blood-soul body. Yang Cheng was surprised. Did she really mean to say that he was a normal person, so he could practice it? The immortal goddess got angry and told him not to even think about it. The woman asked, why does she have to be so strict with this guy? Yang Cheng inquired, can't ordinary people mix? The woman replied that a body mixed together is called a mix. He's just playing around. Yang Cheng was frustrated after all. He still has to practice. The woman decided to calm him down. Although he can't train, he can blend with the spirit. After he trains, he will become just like the previous warrior. Does he still remember the Black Dragon releasing the seal? The boy clarified. Did the interlocutor mean that it was necessary to mix with the spirit so that the notes of the curse would not affect him? The immortal goddess said that he had already started to mix with the spirit. The boy asked how he could speed up the process. His little milk ball hadn't shown up in a while. The girls were overjoyed when they saw Yang Cheng on the doorstep of the office. Xuanling immediately threw herself on his chest. The boy was surprised as he was not used to this. Xuanling immediately pulled away from him and started coughing. Yang Cheng experienced despair, only because she had once hugged him. Our hero went up to the teacher and apologized to her, for he had made her worry. He's fine. The teacher said that the next time they are not at school, he may not call her teacher. Yang Cheng wondered, what should he call her in that case? The girl said that outside of school they were friends and he could call her by her name. Wenlin said, this is already too much. The teacher told the boy that he could call her Bin. Yang Cheng agreed. Xuanling was naturally displeased. She was angry that the bodyguard was being so nice to the teacher. Xiao just sent Brother Yang into the shower and said that he was too dirty and stank. Yang Cheng balked. If he left the teacher and his ward alone, they might have a fight. Yang Cheng enjoyed being under the shower. He really felt much better now. Chatting with the fairy earlier, our hero said that his little white ball had not appeared for a long time. The woman in red replied that this was good. Now it was in a period of growth and was replenishing its energy. In this regard, Mao Shan would have some opportunities. The guy should be careful in the future. Saying goodbye, the immortal goddess said that she had more things to do, and when the time came, she would find the guy herself. Yang Sheng wondered why she was leaving. After all, she hadn't told him how to interact with the balloon yet. The fairy said as she walked away that when the time came, he would find out for himself. Our hero thought he still wasn't strong enough. Looks like I'll have to keep practicing with the ancient scroll. Yang Sheng came out of the shower with a towel on his belt and saw the frozen girls. He wondered what they were staring at, then apologized for being in such a state. Xuanlin was the first to recover and said that no one was going to even look at Yang Cheng. The teacher recalled that Yang Cheng hadn't told them what the situation was this time. Yang Cheng sighed heavily. He said that he was still too young and still needed the leader's help. Xuanling reassured her bodyguard, saying that he was amazing. Even if he fails, she will still pay his salary. Xiaoji told Yang Cheng not to go there anymore. In response, our hero laughed merrily. The enraged Xuanlin shouted, how dare he lie to them. Miss Chu, reading the morning paper, said she had received some good news. All Chang'an knows about his heroic adventures. All the headlines point out how he mopped up the dragon gang. Yang Sheng replied that he didn't expect it to cause such a stir. He hoped it would not cause any problems. Miss Chu said there is no problem, but now the guy is famous and he should be more careful. Xuanlin said that the university rector wanted to meet with Yang Cheng. He should have made preparations. Yang Sheng wondered why the rector wanted to meet him. After all, he had kicked him off campus. Xuanlin said that the rector really hated this guy, but now he was left without the protection of the dragon gang. He needs a new shield. The protagonist thought that was reasonable. He needs to get away for a while. He hates it all. The intercom rang, warning that guests had arrived. The girl said that her bodyguard would not be able to escape today. The rector appeared on the doorstep with gifts. The assistant told Mrs. Chu that this gentleman wanted to see Yang Cheng. The university rector said that he had heard that Yang Cheng was here and decided to check how he was doing. Mrs. Chu clarified, did the rector come here to admit his mistakes? The guest said he regretted letting Yang Cheng go home. He's very sorry. Yang Cheng said he felt like the rector wanted to kick him out. The rector made a surprised face. He knows that Yang Cheng confronted the dragon gang. He was trying to protect him. The dragon gang was too dangerous, and the rector had to be responsible for protecting his students. Yang Cheng then thanked the rector for that and added that they hadn't prepared food for one more person, so they were saying goodbye. The rector took our hero by the hand and said that he was also here because he wanted to invite these two students back. People missed them very much. Yang Cheng jerked his hand and replied that he had made big mistakes and could not return so early. The rector said he would give Mr. Yang Cheng a welcome party if he came back. Shenling whispered to her bodyguard to be realistic and look at the problem from the other side. Yang Cheng thought he always didn't mind having a good time. Yang Cheng told the rector that he didn't mind superficial things as long as the interlocutor understood him. The head of the university said that he had thought of something while he was on his way here. The university had decided to reward the young man with 100,000 coins for his bravery and hire him as security chief. Yang Cheng thought, this old man doesn't understand. It seems like he needs to be pushed. The protagonist said 100,000 is too little. Yang Cheng added that if the rector was not sincere with him, then they could say goodbye. Zhenling thought that her bodyguard was cunning and the rector would have to sweat. The rector was resolute and said that in that case the university would give the young man 500,000 coins, and it was a very serious offer. Yang Cheng shook hands with the rector and said that it was a very serious offer and he couldn't refuse. He would have to take the responsibility. The man said that in that case he would wait for the guy at the university the next day. Xuanlin praised the bodyguard and said that he had conducted the negotiations well. Guanlin noticed something and told Yang Cheng to immediately show what he had in his hand. Yang Cheng was startled. Had she really noticed? The young man hid his hand behind his back and wondered what she meant. Xuanling told him not to pretend. She had seen everything. Mrs. Chu saw it too. She realized it was a tattoo. Yang Cheng showed his hand and thought that it wasn't a tattoo, it was his little milk ball. Out loud, our hero said that it was an ordinary tattoo, nothing surprising. Mrs. Chu said young people with tattoos are the norm. Jianlin noticed that he hadn't had this before. He must have done it for his girlfriend. Yang Zheng was surprised. Who said that tattoos were done for the sake of someone? Xuanlin said that he regularly talks to someone at night. Yang Cheng wondered if she was eavesdropping at his door. Mrs. Chu said for these two to stop. Many more people will come. If Yang Cheng thinks it's annoying, then he can go out of here and hide. Xuanling continued to attack our hero and interrogate who he did this tattoo for. Yang Cheng thought that the milk ball was still sleeping, no matter how, but he couldn't let it be discovered. Yang Cheng turned to Mrs. Chu and said that he needed to get ready. A few days passed. Xuanlin asked the bodyguard, "How about riding in his car?" Yang Cheng wondered, where did he get the car from? There was indeed a new car on the porch of the house. Xuanling said that many people came to see the boy and give him gifts. Yang Cheng was surprised. Even the dragon people had come to check on him. There were welcome banners at the entrance of the university. Yang Cheng was honored as the winner. Xuanlin was glad that the university even put up a banner. It seems that the rector is trying to placate this guy in every way possible. The teacher met our hero and congratulated him on his return to the university. Yang Cheng is the hero who defeated the Black Dragon. Xuanlin was surprised. Did his return really bother the teachers? Yang Cheng replied to his companion that he was simply too handsome. Xuanlin angrily said absolutely not. They want to get something from him, food and satisfy their vanity. Yang Cheng wondered if this girl could say anything good. Yang Cheng asked the teacher what was going on in his absence. The teacher replied that there was a basketball game coming up, and they hoped Yang Cheng would participate. The boy said he wasn't interested in it. The hero award ceremony began. The rector of the university came on stage and said that today they had gathered for two events. The first goal is to celebrate the return of Yang Cheng. The students began to congratulate our hero. Wenlin inquired if she could treat the superhero to dinner tonight. Yang Cheng asked where the girl wanted to invite him to. Xuanlin winked and said that the guy could decide for himself. The rector said there was another reason they were meeting today. The university had decided to appoint this boy as chief of security. The rector invited the young man to the stage. The guy went on stage, took the microphone, and said he had nothing to say. But the rector promised to treat everyone who came to the hall to a buffet. The students shouted that their rector was amazing. Yang Cheng walked down to the hall, took the girl's hand and offered her a taste of the barbecue. Strolling through the evening city, Yang Cheng suggested to his companion to go to a favorite restaurant and order a barbecue there. Xuanlin saw a container of liquid at the entrance and wondered what it was. Yang Cheng smiled and said that it was beer. If a girl hasn't tried it, she has lost a lot. An unknown man appeared before our heroes and said he was offering the young man a fortune. The guy apologized and said he wasn't interested. He wondered why the Taoist had been met here. The man said their meeting was not accidental and that he was not taking money. Yang Zheng repeated that he was not interested. Zhenlin intervened. After all, this fortune-telling isn't for money. Why not give it a try? Taoist said he only works for faith, not for money. Yang Zheng asked how the interlocutor would know his fate. Taoist replied that he needed a drop of blood and he would be able to know the young man's future. Xuanlin got excited and said that it was very exciting. The man told the boy to hold out his hand to him. From the lines of his hand, he would know how long the young man had left to live. Taoist said the guy was young when he lost his parents. Many things happened that changed his life. Yang Sheng wondered, how could this person know? He was indeed a Taoist with high cultivation. Xuanlin said that the man was right. This guy was an orphan and inquired about the site of his wedding. Taoist held out the disc and told the guy to drop blood on it. Xuanlin couldn't wait to know about the wedding, and she told him to hurry up and give a drop of his blood. Getting a drop of blood on the disc, the Taoist sweated with excitement and thought that everything had turned out right. The man said that if this guy stays here, he might die. Fortune and poverty stay with him. It's up to him to decide. Yang Cheng said that he didn't believe this man. Taoist smiled and said that in that case, they would see each other in the future. Yang Cheng took the girl's hand and said that they were leaving. Xuanlin resisted after all. This man hadn't told her about the wedding yet. Taoist said in afterthought that this guy shouldn't worry about the wedding with his good manners and appearance. Shenlin wondered what this guy was doing behind her back with good looks and pleasant manners. The girl was scared. Did the guy resent her for the way she was treating him? The young people were relaxing in the restaurant and enjoying the barbecue. Yang Cheng asked the waiter to bring another mug of beer. Zhenlin liked the beer, and she said so to her companion. Yang Cheng was surprised, for he was the one who should have been envious. The girl was born into a wealthy family. Zhenlin said that she is being followed all the time. She has no freedom. Yang Cheng stated that his underlings just don't realize how lucky she is. Xuanlin said that she actually didn't like to offend Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng sensed the danger, covered the girl with his body, and shouted for her to lie down. The young people fell to the floor. Under the influence of alcohol, the girl's reflexes were dulled, and she didn't realize what was wrong. However, when she saw the blood on Yang Cheng's body, Xuanling was frightened. The girl asked, "What happened?" "There was a man on the roof of one of the tall buildings. Our hero saw him. There was a sniper on the roof of the building who radioed that the mission had failed. The target has located him, and he's leaving." Yang Cheng told his companion that there are mercenaries here. She should hide. He will be back soon. Yang Cheng was shot in the shoulder. He identified the shooter's suspected location. In order not to waste time, our hero decided to climb to the roof on the wall of the building. He did it successfully. Once on the roof, Yang Cheng realized that he was too late. The gunman had managed to get out of here in time. Something caught the protagonist's attention. He picked up a shell casing left by the shooter. Looking at this casing, the guy realized that the mercenary had come here for Xuanling, and this bullet was able to wound him. With the evidence in his pocket, Yang Cheng returned to the girl in the bar. When asked how he was feeling, our hero said he was fine and suggested that his companion leave the place. Yang Cheng again suggested the girl climb on his back. Xuanlin was surprised. She thought they would call a cab. Yang Cheng gave the girl an eye patch and said that the same rules apply. Just like last time, Xuanling didn't hold back and lifted her blindfold to peek at what was happening. She realized that they were moving through the air again. The girl thought that this guy was keeping a lot of secrets. Xuanling decided if he didn't want to tell her anything, then he had the right to do so. Near Mrs. Chu's mansion, the bodyguard said that his ward could come down. They were already there. Wenlin noted that it was very fast and asked if he was sure he wasn't hiding the missile anywhere. Yang Cheng rubbed his companion's head and said that he was hiding. And the day she becomes a bad girl, he will send her on this rocket to Mars. Yang Cheng said that it was time for them to go inside. Need to talk about what happened today. Wenlin saw some message and became interested in it. The message explained that there were beasts in the forest that were attacking people, and there would be a reward for those who could destroy these beasts. Yang Cheng pulled the girl's hand and said that there was nothing interesting written there. It was just an advertisement. Our hero thought that the beast that drinks human blood was a dark zombie. Mrs. Chu met the young people and asked how the first day back to school had been. Yang Cheng reported to the woman that today, when they were having dinner, someone tried to destroy her daughter. The woman is alarmed. What's wrong? Is the guy sure it was her daughter who was the target? Yang Cheng replied that he was sure, and a great professional had acted this time. Madam Chu said they can't delay. Does the bodyguard have a plan of action? The guy replied that the enemy was hiding very well, and they don't know what the attackers are trying to accomplish. It will not be an easy task. The next day came. Zhuan Lin, sitting in the house, asked if Yang Cheng wanted to go shopping with her. The bodyguard told the girl to calm down. She was attacked the day before. They need to be careful. The assistant told his mistress that there were people outside who wanted to see Yang Cheng. These men entered the premises without asking. One of them said that there was no need to introduce himself. He would talk for a while and leave. Yang Cheng inquired, "Well, what happened?" The man extended his hand and introduced himself. He said he was the principal of the school where the young man was studying. Yang Cheng was surprised. These people had come here without warning. Had he done something wrong? The principal laughed and said that student Yang Cheng had a sense of humor. This time they came to remind the young man that he had responsibilities as a citizen. Zhuanlin stood up for her bodyguard. She said that they were still students. What did the principal mean by responsibilities? Yang Cheng inquired. Would it be about remuneration? The principal said the guy would have to sweat for that. Yang Cheng apologized and suggested that he couldn't handle it. The director told Yang Cheng not to rush into a decision. Even though he had fulfilled his duties, they would reward him. Xuanlin asked, "Does Director Li really think that they don't have enough money?" The principal's companions were indignant. How dare this girl show disrespect to the leader? He came to invite them personally, and they have already pushed him away 3 or 4 times. The woman added that she did not believe that these young people would not need their help later. The man said that in that case, they were going home. If young people change their minds, they can call at any time. Mrs. Chu told the bodyguard that she had heard about the previous case. "Will he be able to handle this monster?" Yang Cheng replied, "If this is who he thinks it is, he should be able to handle this monster. And this monster has great influence over him." Wenlin said that the guy shouldn't deal with that monster. He is her bodyguard. What will she do if something happens to him? Yang Cheng replied so the girl wouldn't worry. He remembers everything. As they approached the university, the young men saw that all the students were fleeing from there. They were in a panic. Yang Cheng asked the question, "What is going on? Why is everyone running away?" To find the answer, the guy detained one student and asked who they were running away from. It was explained to the young man that the monster from the news had attacked their school. Yang Cheng told his companion to immediately find a safe place and hide with her classmates. He, on the other hand, would go and see what was going on. Xuanlin replied that she didn't agree with this. If something happened to him, what would she do? Yang Cheng, as resolute as ever, said that he would not repeat a second time. The girl should leave immediately. The university director, the rector, and other officials were at the university stadium watching the events. The rector told the principal that there were a lot of students locked up with the monster. The officials were approached by our hero. The rector decided to introduce the new head of security to Principal Li. However, the principal replied that they already knew each other. The Taoist told Director Li that there was a he for such a purpose. Had the director been looking for someone earlier? Director Li waved his hand and said that in that case, they still had a long way to go. Yang Cheng said that it was necessary to hurry. There were many students in danger inside. Going to help the students, the Taoist said, to keep this guy quiet. He's not qualified enough to be judged. The director told Yang Cheng not to worry. He should stay away from here and not let them bother him. The Taoist approached the monster and said that it would not leave here alive today. The monster turned around, and upon seeing the man, it clenched its fists and roared loudly. Taoist raised his sword and said, "This zombie is behaving very rudely. How dare he behave like that in front of him?" Yang Cheng said to the Taoist, "Don't say what they don't understand. They don't have an understanding of magic." The Taoist said that Nando came down the Haihei River and destroyed the demons of this world. Yang Cheng thought that the Taoist spell resonated with the peach sword. The Taoist raised his sword forward, and it connected with the sky through lightning. The zombie was preparing to fight his opponent. The Taoist thrust his charged sword forward, and the zombie lunged straight at him. The zombie was energized by the electricity and began screaming loudly in pain. The university officials clapped approvingly and said that Zhao had stopped that monster. He has incredible power. Taoist said that this attack would probably be enough to deactivate the monster and tie it up. However, the zombie shattered Zhao's spell and roared loudly again. The Taoist was discouraged. How could this be possible? Those present shouted for the Taoist to exercise caution. Zhao turned around and asked what he should do. He didn't want to die. Taoist put his sword forward again and told this monster to stay away from him or he would destroy it. However, he did not sound convincing. The zombie stepped close to his opponent without fear. Taoist thrust his peach sword into his opponent's stomach. The monster grabbed the sword and broke it like a splinter. The Taoist shouted that this monster dared to destroy his great sword. He added that in that case he would fight the villain in hand-to-hand combat. The man took out yellow spell sheets from his pocket. Taoist threw those leaves at the monster and they covered its entire body. The zombie stopped for a moment. The Taoist laughed. No matter how terrible the zombie was, he wouldn't be able to escape the Tao. However, the yellow spell sheets had no effect on the monster, and it came closer and grabbed Taoist by the throat. Everyone present saw the evil monster throw the man's body to the ground. They shouted in fright that now the monster would come towards them. The zombie actually turned around and walked towards the students. Panic was growing. The zombie took a huge leap and was about ready to come crashing down on the students standing below. However, our hero appeared in the path of the evil monster. Yang Cheng grabbed the zombie's hand and asked what he was doing. Yang Cheng yanked the zombie's arm and used a kung fu technique on it. The monster flipped in the air and fell to the ground. The villain flew off to the side, then rose to his feet. Our hero continued to act, jumped high, and decided to attack the enemy from above. From a bird's eye view, Yang Cheng watched as an explosion occurred where the zombie was. However, when the smoke and dust cleared, the zombie was on his feet as if nothing had happened. The monster approached his opponent and, growling, said that this guy was about to die. A military unit has arrived to protect the students. The principal said there was no need to hurry. The head of the university offered to see how student Yang Cheng would handle his duties. After all, he is the head of security. Yang Cheng swung his fist at the ground beneath his feet. The resulting shockwave began to spread in all directions. The shockwave was so strong that the monster was thrown upwards. After that, the zombie rushed towards Yang Cheng with tremendous speed. The guy thought that this dark zombie was stronger than last time. The monster hit our hero with such force that he flew far back. The boy steadied himself on his feet. A bleeding wound appeared on his leg. Yang Cheng realized that it was no longer possible to continue like this. The opponent's body strengthened. Yang Cheng realized that he had no choice left. It was necessary to put an end to this fight. Yang Cheng jumped high up to choose a convenient position for further attack. The protagonist decides that now is the most profitable time for a milk ball. Combining energies, the young man rushed towards his opponent. When the opponents collided, there was a huge explosion in the air. The zombie, having lost its orientation, began to fall chaotically to the ground. The opponents fell to the ground and there was another explosion. The blast zone was covered in smoke. The students watched this fight with excitement. What had happened to Yang Cheng? Xuanlin was the most worried. Those present saw someone's shadow appearing out of the smoke. When the smoke cleared, everyone realized that Yang Cheng was alive. The students and faculty cheered. Yang Cheng had defeated the zombies and survived. It's a victory. Our hero thought he was at his limit. One more use like this and he wouldn't last. However, it was too early to rejoice. The zombie had survived too. A monster with a hole in its chest appeared and screamed and grabbed our hero. The zombie screamed for the man to give him his blood. Yang Cheng shouted for no one to approach. He could handle it himself. The guy realized he couldn't lose. Gathering the last of his strength, the protagonist delivered a powerful striking blow to the monster's jaw. The impact was so strong that the monster flew far back. The zombie rose to his feet. The guy told his opponent to approach. However, the monster turned around and began to run away. It was quite unusual. Xuanling ran up to the bodyguard and threw herself on his chest. Seeing the young man's condition, the girl stepped aside and asked if he was hurt. The university director came over and asked, "Did this creature really bite Yang Cheng?" Yang Cheng replied that this monster was about to bite his neck, but he managed to avoid it. The principal said to get the guy to the hospital. He's in danger now. Xuanlin wondered what happens to those who are bitten by zombies. Do those people also turn into zombies? Xuanlin asked the principal, did he really think that Yang Cheng could also turn into a zombie? Yang Cheng asked Mr. Li, is the principal really going to destroy him? The principal replied that it wasn't. Everything would be fine. Yang Cheng thought that he was already a zombie. Why should he be afraid of some bites? Yang Cheng told Principal Li that he had a question. The supervisor said that the guy could ask for whatever he wanted. Yang Cheng whispered something to the principal, to which he replied that he certainly wouldn't. Yang Cheng sensed danger again. Something swift flashed through the air. He managed to shield the girl with himself and caught the flying object with his hand. A sharp dart ended up in our hero's hand. Yang Cheng remembered the woman in red telling him that he had rare spiritual blood. He should be careful when he met a priest. Yang Cheng thought that it was obviously from the Taoist priest that the woman in red had warned him about. Yang Ning rushed towards the girl again and pushed her aside. Yang Cheng shouted that it was necessary to run away from here. Darts rained down on him from all directions. The guy realized there was no way to leave now. Those darts were everywhere. Yang Cheng hid the girl behind his back. Armed attackers were on all sides. Our hero noticed the armbands with the original logo on each of the strikers. Principal Li and the university rector couldn't understand what was going on here. The director yelled at the military, "Why are they still not acting? What are they thinking?" The armed officer replied that it was not in accordance with the rules. The director was outraged. If something happened to Yang Cheng and the zombie came back again, who would deal with it? The military man gave orders to the sniper. "You must aim at any unknown origin and destroy them instantly." The sniper said he took the order and took aim. Unknown people with blindfolds on their hands surrounded Yang Cheng and Xuanling and began to perform some strange ritual. Under their feet, incomprehensible signs lit up. Yang Cheng thought, if this continues, there will be no way out. They really must escape from here right now. Yang Cheng grabbed the girl tighter and, pushing off, jumped high up with her. The boy covered his companion with his body. Many darts stabbed him in the back. Yang Cheng continued to hold Xuanling in his arms, and they began to sink to the ground. Our hero thought those darts were poisoned. Something happened to his body and he can't move. Xuanling said that the guy must survive. He still needs to protect her. The director was furious. He asked over the radio why the military was still not acting. They should have been firing long ago. The people arranged in a circle continued their magical actions. Yang Cheng and the girl were still in the center of the circle. People in black with red flags in their hands created a protective dome around them. A bullet from a sniper rifle couldn't penetrate that shield. Yang Cheng thought that these people were trying to restrain him. Yellow spell sheets appeared in the air. Yang Cheng thought, these people are not simple, so who are they? Yang Cheng looked at his hands and noticed that his wounds had begun to heal. The men in black didn't know what was going on. This guy needs to be stopped immediately. However, at that moment, sniper shots rang out, and some of the men in black were eliminated. One of the survivors said that they should not think about that. They should think of the goal first. Xuanling looked up and, startled, asked, "What is this?" A powerful beam appeared, connecting our hero to the sign in the sky. Yang Cheng realized that the talisman on his chest was helping him now, and wondered, who was this mysterious old man really? One of the villains pumped to keep this guy from escaping. "We need to move fast." Yang Cheng rose to his feet and turned to this man in black, and told him not to be as annoying as a fly. Yang Cheng pounced on his opponents and shouted that he didn't care who they were. The opponent wondered how this young man could be so fast. Yang Cheng swung at his opponent and told him not to use tricks to stealthily attack. After a while, all the enemies were deactivated. Some were destroyed by the sniper, some by our hero. One of the opponents was approached by Yang Cheng and asked what they wanted. Yang Cheng grabbed his opponent's chest and told him to answer if he didn't want to die. The opponent, bleeding, did not answer a word. The university director ran up to the protagonist and said that he was very worried. Yang Cheng said that Principal Lee came at the right time. He wants to ask him for a favor. Mr. Lee replied that he would do anything. Yang Cheng said for the principal to let the students here go. He needs to check on these people. The principal replied that he would take care of it right away. Yang Cheng leaned over one of the unknown people. The students were leaving the area in short order. Yang Cheng thought that these people were well trained. The tricks they used were much stronger than ordinary pawns. Our hero was interested in the sign on the sleeve of these men. Xuanlin said that they should hurry to the hospital. Yang Cheng must be in a lot of pain. The guy thought that arrows, flags, strings, and traps were all clearly not meant for ordinary people. Xuanling cried out, "Why aren't the bodyguards obeying her?" Yang Cheng walked over to the girl and stroked her cheek and said that he agreed to go to the hospital. The rector was surprised that this guy just walks away with darts in his back. Principal Lee agreed and said it scared him. This man looked like nothing had happened. Others would have been lying on the ground in painful shock. Xuanlin asked, "Is the guy sure he doesn't need to see a doctor?" Yang Cheng replied that he wanted to deal with his wounds first. Yang Cheng took off his outer clothes and told Xuanling to wait for him here. The girl disagreed after all. She wasn't here for him to die from blood loss. Yang Cheng wondered, so Xuanling is worried about him? Yang Cheng said that he was heading to the shower and she shouldn't come in. Xuanlin replied that she would still peek in so nothing would happen to him. Yang Cheng tried to deal with the darts on his own. The pendant given by the old man was still on his chest. The young man pulled a dart out of the bleeding wound. Afterward, he noticed that the wound on his arm immediately healed. Yang Cheng thought that the target of the attackers was a zombie. However, how were these people able to recognize it? Yang Cheng wondered to himself, who could have told them about him being a zombie? Xuanlin shouted even louder. What was he thinking if he didn't listen to her? The guy was outraged. Why is this girl treating the patient like this? The young people returned to Mrs. Chu's mansion. Mrs. Chu said they were finally back. She heard there was a zombie in the school. Zhenlin told her mother that Director Lee had found a Taoist priest and planned to make a Taoist deal with the zombies. But the Taoist priest was destroyed. Her bodyguard saved everyone. Mrs. Chu asked our hero if he was hurt. The boy replied that he was fine. The driver said that she used to specialize in traditional Chinese acupuncture, which can help cure wounds. If Yang Cheng would come to her tonight and let her help him, he would feel better. Yang Cheng was surprised. Does the girl really practice acupuncture? At night in her room, the girl made tea and waited for her patient. At the appointed time, Yang Cheng and Xuanlin entered her room. Our hero said that there was a strange smell in here. The driver said it is sandalwood for recovery. It helps to restore the body and purify the mind. The girl said that the patient must undress first. Xuanling immediately expressed her displeasure. Does one really have to take off their pants as well?
Yang Chung wondered why she was nervous. After all, she wasn't the one being asked to take off her pants.
The girl said she would just target a few acupuncture points on the lower part of his body. She calmed our hero down and said she wasn't interested in him at all. Yang Chung stripped down to his underwear and inquired about his appearance. Xuanling blushed with embarrassment and asked why he had undressed. She covered her eyes with her hands but still peeked. Xuanling turned away and said that she wouldn't talk to him anymore. Told the patient to just lie face down on the bed.
She added that she would do acupuncture now. It wouldn't hurt, so you could relax.
Needles were inserted into the body in 3 places on the young man's back. Yang Chung thought that even bullets couldn't pierce through his skin. What were those needles? Yang Chung felt relaxed all over his body and dozed off. The phone rang. The caller said hello and asked the guy if he had forgotten about her. Yang Chung got up from the bed and asked, "How is Xiaojai doing?" The girl replied that they had gotten a big client. Yang Chung was surprised and inquired how big. Xiaojai replied that it was 3 million. When our hero heard the amount, he said he would definitely come the next day. Yang Chung asked the doctor, "How long can one sleep?" The girl replied that about 40 minutes. Yang Chung inquired, would she really continue to stare at him? The girl replied that she was just thinking about it. Yang Chung asked, how did she manage to insert a needle into his skin? Our hero got the answer that it was none of his business. The girl opened the front door and said that the sun was already setting. It was time for the guy to go home. Eventually, our hero found himself standing on the doorstep of the driver's room with his clothes in his hands. While getting dressed, Yang Chung thought that since he had become a zombie, sleep was no longer that important to him. At the moment, however, he felt very sleepy. Although Lin Pan looks like she won't do any harm, her needle is too strange. Yang Chung laid down on the bed and thought that too much had happened. Ever since he turned into a zombie, this was the first time he felt so helpless. It didn't matter if it was those 8 people with prayer signs or a dark zombie. It was a big problem for him. Our hero thought he should get stronger. Yang Chung thought that there were 2 more parts in the old scroll that he hadn't learned. The immortal goddess once said that a supreme zombie was not afraid of light. Dark zombies were not afraid of light. Then, judging by some mysterious ways, walking in sunlight is also a powerful symptom. After studying the scroll, our hero decided that he should use mahogany. The next day came. Yang Chung left the house and decided to find a place where no one would see him. The boy held his breath and tried to practice according to the drawings on the scroll. Yang Chung could actually feel some warmth penetrating his body. It seemed that his assumption was correct. Returning home, Yang Chung met his ward. Xuanling asked what is he doing in the early morning. Our hero replied that he was returning from charging. Yang Chung was surprised. Is the girl really worried about him? Xuanling blushed and told the guy not to flatter himself. The girl told the guy to go inside immediately. There was someone there waiting for him for quite a while. Zhenlin added that this person had promised to help. The guest introduced himself. He said that he was the butler of the Kaiyue family. His name is Mu Sheng. Yang Chung said that he doesn't know anyone from Kaiyue's family and doesn't understand the purpose of his visit. The young men sat down, and our hero asked how he could be of service. The butler said that after his master heard that the guy was attacked, he wanted to invite him to stay at his place for a while. Yang Chung answered the phone and said that he still had things to do and shouldn't be rushed. He even forgot that he was going to stop by the office. Zhenlin said that the guy didn't need to stay with her. Yang Chung said that he had long wanted to ask the girl, does she still think of him as a guard? Yang Chung added that the girl knows how to take care of people. Yang Chung said that maybe the owner of the Kaiyue family liked his abilities and wanted him to become their guard. Zhenlin said that Yang Chung is her personal bodyguard. Yang Chung wondered, what did personal bodyguard mean? Wenling blushed again and said, not literally, but only to ensure her safety. Xiaojai was very happy when Yang Chung came after all. Yang Chung wondered what had really happened, since Xiaojai was so intensely beckoning him. The girl showed the papers and said, it's all about this. Otherwise, she wouldn't have bothered him. She added that the client was already waiting. A young man sitting in the corner said hello to the director of the firm. Xiaojai said that it is necessary to look at the customer's information. If it was done illegally, it could be considered fraud. If the truth is established, 3 million coins will be paid out. Our hero introduced himself, apologized for keeping the customer waiting, and asked to talk about his situation. The visitor said that he had been waiting for Yang Chung for a long time and was in no mood to do anything else. The guy said he was a programmer, relied on his abilities to develop a communication device, and made a certain amount of money. Xiaojie remarked that this is called borderless communication technology. The visitor reported that his life is still considered quite successful if relationships don't count. Yang Cheng inquired, "Get to the point. What should he do?" The client said he wanted Yang Cheng to find his wife. "A girl named Feng Feng from Changnan University needs to be found," Xiaojie asked. "Wasn't that where Yang Cheng studied?" Yang Cheng replied that he needed to see her backstory first. The man reported to the boss that Zhao Meng had already found Yang Cheng to investigate Feng Feng. This could be a threat. The boss wondered, isn't everything going the way they want it to? The boss, smiling, said that this time everything would go according to plan. Yang Cheng said hello and said that he was here to pick up the documents. He had already mentioned it to Director Li. The secretary said the information was prepared. The guy could come up and study everything. Yang Cheng looked at the work computer. He wondered, is it really an orphan and she's already 30 years old? Yang Cheng said he had one more request. He was interested in the documents from the orphanage. At the orphanage, the director said that Fan Feng was a good kid they were proud of. The girl entered this orphanage with about 10 other orphans. Only 2 were not adopted, and Feng Feng's studies had always been excellent. Yang Cheng asked her interlocutor if her school fees were provided for. The principal said that Feng Feng was very hardworking. She had been supporting herself since she grew up. She didn't need any help. The woman added that Feng Feng is very smart, has had her head on her shoulders since she was little, and can speak well. Yang Cheng asked, what about the second child who was also not adopted? The director of the orphanage replied that it was difficult to contact the other girl. Her name seems to be Lin Pan. The woman was alarmed. Is something wrong? Yang Cheng asked to see Lin Pan's photo. The director of the orphanage handed our hero a photo and said that here the girl is depicted before she left them. Yang Cheng looked at the picture and was surprised. He never thought that Lin Pan would also be from the orphanage. Xuanling once again kept up with the bodyguard. What was he thinking about, and why did he come back so late? Yang Cheng replied that he was busy with work and asked why the girl was sneaking around unnoticed all the time. Xuanling snatched the photograph that showed Lin Pan out of Yang Cheng's hands. Xuanling was once again furious. Why did Yang Cheng need a picture of the driver? Wenlin was surprised when she found out that Lin Pan was from the orphanage. Yang Cheng told her interlocutor to keep quiet. She knows what will happen if someone hears, right? Yang Cheng learned from the interlocutor that the driver was currently in the living room. The protagonist walked up to Lin Pan and said hello. Yang Cheng said that the girl must have a lot of free time. Lin Pan replied that it was none of his business. Lin Pan told the guy to cut to the chase. What could she do for him? Yang Cheng sat down next to her and inquired if she knew Feng Feng. Lin Pan thought that Feng Feng had found Yang Cheng, so Shifu had sent her here for a reason. Lin Pan said she'd seen that girl somewhere. Lin Pan stated no matter where Yang Cheng got the news about Feng Feng from, she still wants to remind him. A guy shouldn't stick his nose in her business. It could be very dangerous. Yang Cheng wondered, could it really be more dangerous than the 8 people with red flags recently? Lin Pan said that the interlocutor should believe her. Our hero said that the girl need not worry. If she didn't want to say anything more about Feng Feng, he would handle the investigation himself. Lin Pan thought that things were getting out of control. The girl dialed the phone number, but the answering machine said the caller's phone was disconnected or out of range. Lin Pan thought, before she could find out what they wanted, she must protect Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng reasoned how he could get information about Feng Feng without mentioning that she was an orphan. A phone call sounded. Our hero answered it. He asked Xiaoji, what's new? The girl said she had news about Feng Feng. There's a hint that she's going to a party tonight. Xiaoji said that she sent the boss the address, and he must not forget that she has the entrance ticket. The 20th Business Exchange Meeting. According to the information provided by Zhao Meng, Feng Feng does not have access here. At the entrance, our hero was asked to show an invitation. Yang Cheng showed the ticket. The person watching the entrance reported to the boss that Mr. Yang Cheng had already entered. Another observer already inside the building noted that he could also see the target. Mr. Zhao Meng was also present. A girl in a red dress with a glass of wine in her hand replied that she had accepted the information. Yang Cheng was just passing by nearby. Yang Cheng looked at the picture and thought that this girl looked like her. Yang Cheng thought that everything was going very smoothly, and it seemed strange to him, but he couldn't explain why. The guy took a glass of wine from the waiter and walked over to the girl. Our hero apologized and asked if he could sit down next to him. At that moment, some stranger approached the girl and offered her a dance. Yang Cheng told this guy that he was talking to this girl. The stranger told Yang Cheng to get out of here. He is busy. Yang Cheng grabbed this guy's chest and asked if he really wanted big trouble. The opponent whispered to our hero that it was very dangerous. Mr. Yang Cheng should leave immediately. Yang Cheng was very surprised. The stranger said loudly that this guy had to stay away from him or he would immediately die. The person observing this scene on the intercom told someone to hurry up. A bright light suddenly appeared, aimed at Yang Cheng. The woman in red began to pull down her dress and cursed angrily. The woman pointed her hand at our hero, and a dart flew into him. The stranger shouted for Yang Cheng to be more careful and shield him with his body. The dart hit the stranger in the chest. Falling to the floor, this guy said to Yang Cheng to slowly leave this place. Those present were frightened and began to scatter in different directions. The girl was told over the intercom that she would not win and should not interfere with the plan. Yang Cheng held the bleeding guy on his lap. It was unclear why he helped. Yang Cheng raised his head and saw Zhao Meng standing not far away. Yang Cheng walked over to his customer. Zhao Meng, sitting on the floor, paced back and asked for Yang Cheng to spare him. After all, he had been threatened. He doesn't know these people. Yang Cheng asked why this guy did this to him. Zhao Meng said that they used Feng Feng to threaten him. He had no choice. The protagonist asked what their purpose was. Zhao Meng stated that he didn't know. Feng Feng had never mentioned it. Unknown men with crossbows in their hands surrounded our hero. The boss appeared in front of these people and said that Yang Cheng looked younger than what they said about him. Zhao Meng said it was him. He threatened him. It has nothing to do with him. He's asking to be released. Yang Cheng let this guy go and told Zhao Meng to get out of here before he changed his mind. Zhao Meng wanted to run away, but was immediately shot in the back. The villain held a gun in his hand and said that no one would leave here alive, and neither would Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng stood in front of the people who pointed their crossbows at him. Shots rang out, and our hero began maneuvering to avoid being hit by the darts. Yang Cheng appeared beside his opponent and grabbed the boss by the throat and lifted him up. Throwing his opponent far back, Yang Cheng said that he would not fall into his trap again. An explosion rang out, and the men with crossbows scattered in different directions after being wounded. Yang Cheng, turning to his opponent, asked that he was from the mysterious organization with the wreath mark, wasn't he? The villain said he was Louis Che of the Southern Shangjing sect. The guy added that if Yang Cheng wanted to know more, then he should experience it. He jumped to his feet and attacked our hero. Yang Cheng noticed that the pendant on his chest was glowing and decided to test his new magic on his opponent. Yang Cheng attacked his opponent but couldn't break through his defenses. Louis Che threw our hero far back and said he was very weak. The protagonist's back hit the wall and damaged it. Louis Che said that the person in front of him was a loser and didn't understand why Shifu had asked to come specifically for him. Yang Cheng felt that his opponent was much stronger than those he had met before, and it was unclear what Doist level he was at. Our hero thought that after the last incident on campus, the white balloon is still weak and not sure if he can beat this opponent. Louis Che said that he is facing a zombie who doesn't know how to use his brain. It's a waste of a zombie's body. Yang Cheng wondered how his opponent knew he was a zombie. Louis Che promised to tell him if his opponent won. Yang Cheng swung his fist and moved to attack. Louis Che blocked our hero's attack by holding his fist with his hand. The opponent said, "Doesn't Yang Cheng realize that he is not a simple Taoist?" Yang Cheng was deactivated and wrapped in a glowing electric tape. He screamed loudly in pain. Louis Che said he can now show his opponent a magic trick. Feng Feng lowered her hand to the floor, and a glowing ring appeared around her. Louis Che began to turn into a different person. Yang Cheng realized that the white-skinned zombie in front of him was now a zombie. Louis Che said that now the opponent must know his target. Yang Cheng's blood and soul are great food to feed the zombies, and these zombies will become weapons in the future. Suddenly, an arrow flew into the room with a rope tied to the end of it. The arrow stabbed the white zombie in the back. The shooter turned out to be Lin Pan. She said that the deep sky leads to thunder, seals the devil, and cleanses the evil spirit, adding to let the zombies fall from here. Yang Cheng did not understand what was going to happen next, and restrained by the glowing ribbon, continued to lie on the floor. The white zombie screamed loudly. A strange glow appeared around him. Louis Che thought it was Mao Shan's thunder spell. Fan Feng said, "It's amazing." Our hero heard someone ask him, "Isn't he still alive?" The voice sounded familiar to him. Li Pan entered the room through the broken window. She told the boy to get up. Feng Feng was surprised when she saw Li Pan. Louis Che ordered deputies to catch the two men. Yang Cheng said that it was unexpected for him. The girl came here to save him, but he can't put her in danger. She must leave. Li Pan said that she didn't arrive here alone. The enemies had gotten the command to take this guy alive, and they were closing in. However, at the same moment, an explosion rang out and rocks fell from above. Using the surprise factor, Li Pan grabbed our hero's hand and said they were leaving. They left the building through the window. Through a hole in the roof, armed men descended into the room. Louis Che immediately activated the defensive shield around him. The military opened fire to kill. Louis Che, under the cover of a shield, tried to escape. However, the bullets caught up with him, and Louis Che, having lost his strength, collapsed to the floor. Feng Feng ran up to him while calling him master. Louis Che said he had not foreseen this and ordered the girl to leave the place immediately. The military stopped firing and looked around. The enemy had been destroyed. Yang Xing told Li Pan that she is very powerful. She knows magic and can hire mercenaries. Li Pan and Yang Xing returned to this room again. The girl said that the mercenaries were here to protect them. It has nothing to do with her. The mercenary commander introduced himself and said that his master had sent them here to help Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng was surprised. Was it really Mu Sheng? The martial artist bowed and said that he was honored to repay this favor on behalf of the Caillou family. Yang Cheng couldn't understand what favor he had done for his master. Li Pen said that it would be better if Yang Cheng started thinking about himself. The girl looked at the eliminated criminals and said that they were trying every way to catch the guy. If you don't eliminate them all, there will be more attacks. Yang Cheng said, that's right, and those who are close to him will also be enthusiastic about it. The mercenary commander said he must first send the young man back to his home. Already in the car on the way home, our hero asked Li Pan who she was and why she had come to be a maid in the Chu family. The companion replied that she was a disciple of the northern Shangqing sect and had sneaked into the family for Yang Cheng's body. Yang Cheng is a zombie with a bloody soul, and he is 1,000 years old. He must do good to the world, otherwise this world will be destroyed. She is here to keep an eye on him if he suddenly goes astray. However, if Yang Cheng goes astray, we will have to destroy him. The guy thought that this was a very horrible woman. It turns out that Li Pan knows that Feng Feng is from the southern sect and is a decoy for him. The driver said that they heard that this woman was Yang Cheng's target and decided to follow her. But they didn't expect that such a powerful force would be involved. Our hero remarked, he always felt that those who set traps were not so brilliant. Louis Che, instead of fighting against him, was probably buying time. Suddenly, the car braked sharply. Wu Yang wondered what happened. Li Pan told him to look forward. Up ahead in front of the gate were the destroyed security personnel. Li Pan said that perhaps her companion is right. He is not the target. Yang Cheng immediately rushed into the building shouting, Xuanling! Li Pan shouted after him to be careful. Yang Cheng swung open the gate and ran inside. There was an explosive device attached to the gate. There was a massive explosion, and everyone in the vicinity went flying in different directions. The person watching the explosion outside reported over the intercom that Yang Cheng had been caught and asked whether to proceed with the plan. This man was answered by an old man and told that there should be no hurry. Standing beside the old man was a child who held a phone in front of him. The kid asked the wizard, why don't they bring the little zombie back? The old man replied that it was a silly child. They had it now, and he would come here himself. Not far away, tied to a wheelchair, sat Xuanlin. The girl shouted, this old man doesn't want money from her, right? The old man rose from his seat and, laughing, said that Miss E was right. The old man added that he had organized so many attacks. Everyone thought that Yang Cheng was the target, however, he was aiming at her. The boy asked the old man, didn't he want to experience the power of the bloody soul's body? The old man replied that all was true, but Mrs. Secret was what he wanted most. Xuanlin cried out, who is he and what exactly does he want from her? The old man replied that she would see everything after he showed her something. The master asked the baby to take the lady to their masterpiece. The child told my lady to sit still. The girl asked where they were taking her. Wenlin told the two to let her go, or else her mother and bodyguard would not spare them. Ahead was a brightly lit room. The child said they were already there. A huge flask filled with liquid appeared in front of the girl. Inside was a woman in red. There was a huge number of tubes coming from the top of the flask. The woman in red had her eyes closed. She was unconscious. The tubes went into a large number of sarcophagi nearby. Xuanlin inquired who was this woman. The old man replied that her name was Aura. She was a 1,000-year-old zombie. The old man added that this woman turned Yang Cheng into a zombie. Xuanlin said that was impossible. Her bodyguard was not a zombie. The child laughed. This girl is very naive. How could an ordinary person fight like him? Xuanlin recalled her bodyguard's superpowers. This was indeed quite extraordinary. The old man said he would leave it to the girl to think about it. They weren't done yet. The master told the baby to show Ms. E the next part. The baby got excited. The little guy walked over to the huge remote control and said that was his favorite part. The boy pressed the red button. From the top of the flask that contained aura, something worm-like appeared. It began to descend downward. A sharp spike emerged from the worm and approached the woman's head. Xuanlin was scared. "What are they doing?" The old man said for her to just sit and watch, he would explain later. A sharp spike stabbed into the millennial zombie's head. The woman began to wriggle and screamed in pain. She opened her eyes and really did look like a zombie. Xuanlin shrank back in fear. Why couldn't she hear her voice? Couldn't she feel all her pain? The woman's pain began to flow through tubes into the sarcophagi. The sarcophagi glowed. After a while, the child said the deed was done and pressed the red button again. The sharp spike receded from Aura's head. The woman slowly began to calm down. What Xuanling saw made him vomit. The child said that this girl was very weak. The old man, addressing the child, said that he was a cultivator. How could he compare himself with ordinary people? The boy took offense. The old man said it was all right. The girl would get used to it in time. Xuanling turned to the child. What was that? The boy replied that it was called melting a corpse. The old man said that Aura was a corpse from thousands of years ago. With her blood, normal zombies would be greatly improved. Something went wrong in one of the sarcophagi, and there was an explosion inside. The lid of the sarcophagus was thrown aside. The child was upset. Why did it happen again? A zombie rose from the sarcophagus. The old man said that although it strengthens the zombie's body, it doesn't make them intelligent. They turn into uncontrollable and useless monsters. The elder added that he could only destroy this one and flicked a drop of blood from his finger in his direction. The blood got on the zombie and he started to ignite. Eventually, he finally burned to death. The child said that a master could start such a large energy fire with a single drop of blood. The old man noticed that they had never successfully improved a zombie using this method. The old man added that now Xuanlin had appeared, they would finally be able to make progress. The girl wondered what this had to do with her. The old man asked, hadn't she realized yet? She has a secret that can make zombies obedient. The old man added that her father had hidden it at her place. It's a great treasure. The girl was very surprised when she heard about her father. In the ICU, the protagonist lay under an oxygen mask and his entire body was bandaged. The doctor said a lot of people died in the explosion, but this guy came to his senses quickly. Is he even human? The nurse said she couldn't find a vein to inject and thinks he's really not human. Our hero jumped up on the hospital bed and asked in surprise, is he really in the hospital? And asked another question, where is Xuanlin? Our hero looked at the doctor and the nurse and saw blood moving through their bodies. The doctor asked if the patient could hear him. Seeing the blood, Yang Cheng said that he was very hungry. The guy thought he really wanted to dig into these two's necks and drain them. Yang Cheng immediately covered his mouth with his hands. He didn't understand how this happened. Why did he have such a desire for fresh blood? Yang Cheng ran out of the chamber. Had his weak body awakened his vampire instinct? While running down the corridor, the guy was hit by the sunlight and his body started to burn. Yang Cheng thought that he couldn't stand the sunlight. Then doesn't he become a useless corpse? At the hospital, our hero met Li Pan. The girl was in about the same condition as him. Yang Cheng asked how Li Pan was feeling. Was she badly injured? The girl replied that she was fine, but Mr. Mu was still unconscious. The doctor said the explosion affected his heart, lungs, and brain. He may have brain death. Yang Cheng slammed his fist on the wall in anger. After all, it was his fault. He said if he hadn't opened the gate, they wouldn't be here. Li Pen stated that there was no point in blaming himself. He had better think about how to save Xuanlin from the southern gang. Yang Cheng said that it was too difficult. Now he can't even stand sunlight, and his body can't resist the urge to drink human blood. He had become a low-level vampire. Li Pen said that while trying to heal his wounds, his body's suffocation of blood caused his energy consumption to be excessive. If he wants to heal quickly, they only have one way. Li Pen thought if the teacher found out about this, he would probably scold her very badly. But if they want to go up against the Southern gang, they can only rely on him. Li Pen took the guy's hand and told him to follow her. Yang Cheng asked where they were going. The girl decided to take a chance. In the night forest, our hero was digging a deep hole while Li Pen silently watched the action. Yang Cheng asked, is it really a good idea to dig a hole in the forest at night? Li Pen replied, so he should talk less and dig faster. They don't have much time. Yang Cheng wondered what the hole was for. Wouldn't his companions say that she wanted to bury him here? Li Pan replied that he was right. She will bury him in that hole, and added that the guy should take off his clothes. Yang Cheng was frightened. Was the girl not joking? After a while, our hero was indeed buried in this pit, with only his head left outside. Yang Cheng asked, "What after all did she want?" Yang Cheng added that she had already buried his body. Li Pan should be able to give him an answer. The girl spread heavy stones around the place where her companion was buried. Li Pan said that this place used to be full of unburied people. It was the best place to gather yin energy to rejuvenate one's body. Yang Cheng was surprised. "Isn't this dark energy? What kind of body rejuvenation method is this?" The girl replied that it was all about saving lives. Yang Cheng inquired, could this method really help him recover his energy? Li Pan, without stopping dragging the stones, said that as long as he could go through the process, perhaps even level up. Yang Cheng asked, what would happen if he couldn't do it? Li Pan calmly replied that in that case he would explode right where he was now. Yang Cheng was scared and asked if there were any other ways. He was scared. Li Pan stated that if a guy wanted to save Xuanlin, this was the only way. There was a full moon in the sky. Li Pan said that the time was up. The girl pulled out a yellow leaf and waved it in the air. Li Pan said, "Open up," and threw the sheet right on Yang Cheng's face. The moon in the sky turned red, and electric rays began to emanate from it. These rays were aimed directly at Yang Cheng's head. The boy screamed in pain. Li Pan said to switch the yin and yang forces. She said to swap the positions of heaven and earth. Hundreds of ghosts would bring back his spirit. Yang Cheng was surprised. Are there even ghosts there? The guy told the girl he wasn't feeling well. His body was about to explode. Li Pan replied that they didn't have much time. This is the only solution left. The young man must keep this energy in his body. He must endure the pain. Li Pan told the guy to think of Xuanlin at this moment. She is still waiting for him to save her. Yang Cheng burst out of the ground and shouted for Xuanling to wait for him. He would never leave her. Li Pan said with satisfaction that it worked. The protagonist crawled completely out of the ground. The girl said that a lot of energy was now flowing into his body. Li Pan assessed her companion from head to toe. Blood Soul's body, how strong is it? A naked Yang Cheng asked why she was looking at him like that. The girl threw Yang Cheng's things and told him to put on his clothes. Li Pan said that he had only taken the first step. Now she would lead him to the second step. On the way out of the forest, Li Pan said that after this, they could only rely on him. Yang Cheng inquired who he was. Should he dig holes or strip again? Zhenlin remained locked up alone in the room. She thought about what the old man was telling her. He said that her father, Ye Kai, was his favorite disciple. He was a born genius, specializing in every kind of magic available, especially when it came to training zombies. The zombies he trained are not only strong, but they react only to him. Even the old man was impressed with his talents. Wenlin said that none of this is true. Her father's name is Cheng Feng. He is a businessman, and he is not what the old man calls his disciple. The old man said it was all because he changed his identity to a woman. Her mother took away his best student, and the girl can make him turn his back on him again. When she was 6 years old, the old man finally found her traitor father. Looking at him, the fact that he had a family, his wife by his side, it was obvious that he was happy. The old man even genuinely felt comforted. Xuanlin asked, in that case, why is the old man unwilling to let them go? The interlocutor replied that they are as close as father and son. He just wants to reunite his family, is that wrong? The girl replied that the old man was only plotting to take advantage of her father to do his dirty deeds. The elder replied that it was a great cause. Training zombies to protect people for the greater good, it was her father's teenage dream. The old man added that this girl and her mother controlled that man, turning him into useless trash focused on making money for the family. Shunling tearfully asked, was that why the old man destroyed him? The old man introduced Ye Kai standing behind the chair with the girl. An apprentice had once told the master that the art of training zombies was unethical and harmful to humans. This kind of vile sorcery shouldn't have existed in the first place. The old man sighed and said that he had never destroyed Ye Kai. He thought he could threaten the apprentice with the lives of his daughter and wife to master the art of zombie training. No matter how smart Ye Kai was, he might not have known what the old man was up to. To protect his family, Ye Kai came to the old man to declare war on him. Together with his 4 zombie generals, he wiped out their entire sect. The old man then ordered his disciples to set up a protective array. The students used fire, wind, thunder, gold, and wood. The 5th level Xuanhuang array was ready. The old man asked if Yedakai really wanted to sever all ties with him. The boy replied that the master himself made him do it. The old man said that many of his disciples had died or been seriously injured in that battle. The entire Nan sect had paid a bitter price for it. The child wondered, was Yedakai that powerful? Zhenlin asked the old man, what did he do to her father? The old man said that Yedakai's zombie generals couldn't withstand his disciples' siege and burned to the ground. Yedakai himself was severely wounded. The master told the student that he still had time if he wanted a fresh start. One of the students told the master that he didn't need to waste his time. He just needed to destroy the traitor and avenge his students who had died. Yedakai lifted himself up and asked in surprise, is it really a fresh start? The young man said he knows the purpose of zombie training. It's not to save humanity, but to make money. The disciple said if Yedakai figured it all out, then he must die. Yedakai pushed this disciple away and got ready to leave. The old man said that this deal was to protect their Maoshan guild. Yedakai asked, what about those innocent people? He would never let his daughter live in a world full of zombies. Yedakai took out a yellow sheet and said that master had never mastered the art of training zombies. Not in this life. The yellow leaf in his hand ignited. The old man shouted for Yedakai not to do that. The leaf in Yedakai's hand continued to blaze. He said that he was very sorry. In the next moment, Yedakai was engulfed in flames. After this story, the old man cried. He said that this was the disciple he loved most. This was his successor. Zhenling also cried and said that the old man had no right to say that. The girl said that this rascal doesn't deserve to be his master. He doesn't deserve to even mention his name. He doesn't deserve to cry because of him. Xuanlin called the old man a jerk and said that he had better destroy her right now. Otherwise, one day she'll take his life. Yang Cheng with Li Pan on his back arrived at the destination point. It was a small hut at the edge of the forest at the foot of the mountains. The girl said that this guy was good. He was faster than cars. Yang Cheng didn't understand. Was this flattery or an insult? Li Pan invited the guy inside the hut. There was trash lying around. Yang Cheng was surprised to see a respectable person living here. Li Pan announced to the teacher that she had brought this person. Yang Cheng was very surprised when he saw who he had gotten to. Before our hero's eyes appeared the very beggar who had given him the necklace. The old man patted Yang Cheng's shoulder and said that he and his little brother hadn't seen each other for a long time. Yang Cheng said that he now realized that the two were planning to get close to him. Li Pan replied that their purpose was only to keep an eye on him. The girl pointed at the old man and said that this is her master in charge of Mao Shan Bei Pei. His name is BGG. Yang Cheng said that compared to Nan Pai, these two are really more miserable. The old man said, lest Yang Cheng misunderstand him, he was collecting garbage to recycle later. This was the answer to the dumb question of why the hut was so dirty. Someone's voice was heard outside. Someone was offering to buy all the trash from this old man. Yang Cheng said that recently the price of clothes has fallen so much that his number of items won't be able to bring in much money. The old man replied that it was fine. He ate 3 times a day. The man stood on the doorstep counting the money he received for the garbage and smiled. Li Pan asked the master what they should do. She had already reported to him about the situation with Yang Cheng and Nan Pai. The man said that Li Pan forcibly injected evil substances into Yang Cheng's body, and it was done carelessly. Even if he has a blood-soul body, once he can't control the evil substances within him, he will be destroyed. He will eventually become a crazed zombie bloodsucker. Yang Cheng said that he was fine. He's just a little excited and doesn't think anything is wrong at the moment. The old man wondered, was it really so? He decided to check. The man grabbed our hero by the chest and pulled him toward him. After that, his opponent sent the boy straight into the far wall of the hut with a blow of his hand. The young man hit his back and slid to the floor. Li Pan was frightened. What if this guy was destroyed by the master? The old man said that he knew his degree, and if he didn't make him die, he wouldn't be able to know what danger lurked inside his body. Yang Cheng hissed. The old man said that once he had no consciousness, he would be controlled by blood. The old man added that it would make him a monster. Our hero's eyes lit up like a monster's, and he roared loudly. Li Pan asked if the master would help the master internalize this wine. The old man said that the guilt in his body was too strong and would have to try harder. Yang Cheng had truly become like a monster and was ready to pounce on the old man. The old man, using his magical abilities, activated the chains that shackled the protagonist. Yang Cheng tried to break those chains. Li Pan told the master to control him. The old man replied that it wasn't that easy. Master threw off his outer garment and told Li Pan to step aside. The old man rushed at the guy and yelled for the girl to run as far away as possible. Li Pan asked in horror, "Is the master really going to use his ego?" The old man replied that he hoped his kung fu would help this child improve. The master moved closer to the guy and leaned his palm against his forehead. Yang Chung continued to shout loudly. Li Pan was startled. The master began to cast a spell. Yang Chung tensed up and tried to break the chains restraining him. The chain on one arm was broken, and the young man sprang into action. Yang Chung swung his free hand and delivered a staggering blow to the old man. The master flew far back and hit his back against the wall. Yang Chung continued to flash his eyes like a true monster. Blood came out of the old man's mouth. Yang Chung shouted loudly and broke all the chains restraining him. From that scream, the hut was destroyed. From the strong sound wave, the old man and the girl flew aside. A protagonist with glowing eyes stood on the wreckage of the hut. Li Pan asked the master, "Did they really fail?" The old man said it was the other way around. They did it. The master lay on his back and smiled. Scratched hieroglyphics appeared on our hero's body. The master told his apprentice that he doubted he could control this dark energy. But ever since he got involved with this guy, he felt that there was a different type of energy within Yang Chung. This energy was pure, then absorbed his energy, and after that merged with the dark energy. The old man said that in the end, the guy transformed the dark energy. The girl wondered what kind of pure energy was that.
The old man replied that he did not know that. It is not one of the 5 basic elements.
Our hero came to his senses. He was clutching something in his fist. As he unclenched his fist, he couldn't believe it. Was it really a small milk ball? He woke up. Yang Chung said, "Finally, this lazy creature woke up." Smiling, he discovered it was an elf. No surprise there. Yang Chung looked around, saw the ruined building, and asked what had happened here. The old man said that in order to help this guy, this house had to be destroyed. Therefore, Yang Chung would have to make amends. Yang Chung was scared. How can he compensate for this? He is only selling his skills, not his body. Li Pan said to this guy to be more serious. Master replied that it was fine. The old man said that as long as this guy was dealing with southern Ghana, the debt between them would be settled. Yang Chung and the white milk ball smiled. The young man said that they had an agreement. The old man told the disciple, if he has not yet recovered from his injury, he should not go around. The disciple wondered, why hadn't the master informed him of Xuanling's capture earlier? The old man said that Louis Che should mind his own business and not ask about things that don't concern him. It's for his own good. Louis Che said he was his apprentice. The master obviously doesn't trust him if he withholds such important details. The old man replied that he believed that Louis Che could bring Yang Cheng back. But what happened in the end? The master added that if the student wants to gain his trust, then he must prove to him that he can accomplish something. Feng Feng reported to the teacher that Yuan Ling had arrived. Xuanling stood calmly, not expressing any emotion. The old man inquired, "Is she still not talking?" Feng Feng said that she applied hypnosis to the girl and still can't get any information. She is afraid that the girl really doesn't know the secret skill of corpse cleansing. The old man said that Yedekai had come up with a complete and detailed plan. The item he had hidden would obviously not be easy to find. Lucha said that they couldn't be sure. Yedekai may have destroyed the secret skill of corpse cleansing. Yedekai destroyed his fellow brothers to protect his family. How could he still have this thing? The old man objected. It is also the salvation of his family. This is the only way he will keep his wife and daughter alive. It looked like they would have to use a special technique to study her memories. Master told Feng Feng to wake her up. Feng Feng snapped her fingers and Xuanling woke up. The first thing the girl did was call the old man a jerk. Xuanling ran up to the elder and punched him in the nose with her fist, accompanying the punch with curses. Feng Feng approached Xuanling and plowed her to the floor. Louis Che ran up to the foreman and asked if he was okay. The old man replied that he was fine. Xuanling continued to shout that if the people here had the guts, they could destroy her. The old man smiled and said that this girl's strength looked just like her father's. The master took out the acupuncture needles and told the girl not to worry. He wouldn't destroy her right now. The old man declared that he saw this girl as his granddaughter, so he was responsible for her care. Xuanlin shouted that she was not the granddaughter of this vile old man. The master prepared the needles and told the girl to stop being rude and get some rest. Xuanlin was frightened. What was he going to do? She shouted for the old man not to come close to her. The old man stuck the needle right into the girl's head. Xuanling immediately fell to the floor, bereft of her senses. Master told Feng Feng to help the girl sit on the chair. Louis Che asked the old man what they would do if they couldn't find him. The old man replied that then they would have to hide in the mountains again. The old man added that his students should pray that everything would turn out well. The old man held another acupuncture needle in his hand and said that he put everything on Yedekai this time. The old man stuck the needle in his forehead. The master cried out loudly and his eyes began to roll. A thin thread stretched from that needle. The old man tried to enter the girl's mind by this method. The elder realized that Yang Cheng held an important place in Xuanling's heart. Diving deeper into her mind, he thought he was almost there. The old man met with his student, Yedekai. The guy said that the old man finally got to his daughter. The old man shouted, "Yedekai is sealed. This means that the way to train zombies is indeed hidden in Xuanlin's memory." Yedekai said that the old man is not welcome here. He should leave now. The old man attacked his student and said he had to do it. This was necessary to restore Mao Shan. Master, using his internal energy, struck Yedekai. The young man, defending himself, told the old man not to even think about it. The old man was frightened. What was Yedekai doing now?
Louis Che and Feng Feng saw their master spitting blood while unconscious.
They rushed to the master. Was he all right? Louis Che pulled the needle out of the old man's head. The old man continued to sit in the chair without regaining consciousness. On the monitor screen, the heart readings were stable. Li Pen and Yang Cheng stood in the medical room by Mr. Mu's bedside. Would he wake up? Li Pen says it's bound to happen, but they don't know when exactly. Yang Cheng was very angry. He said that he would tear this southern gang apart. Li Pen said that they must first find the southern gang's nest. Only then could they avenge Mr. Mu and save Zhuan Lin. The door to the ward opened and a man walked in. He said that if it was about Mr. Mu, he would like to play his part. The man said hello and said that he was the master of the Kai Yue family. His name is Kai Yue Zongwu. Yang Cheng wondered, was this really the person who was badly injured? Zongwu asked, did Mr. Yang Cheng still remember him? The man said that 2 years ago he was suddenly attacked by an enemy and was wounded. However, thanks to Mr. Yang Cheng, he was saved because the young man gave him his blood. Yang Chen said that it was a small thing. He just never would have thought that this person was actually obscenely rich. Zongwu said that it took a long time to repay the young man's kindness. Yang Cheng said that they were now even. Zongwu said that Mr. Mu is injured. He will bear the responsibility of getting justice. Zongwu added that in order to deal with Mao Shen's southern gang, he would do his best to help the two. Yang Cheng said that he appreciated the kindness, but he did not want to involve innocent people. Zongwu remarked that the two of them don't know, but the southern gang's support is very strong. If they don't work together, it will be impossible to completely destroy the opponents. Li Pen said that Zongwu was right. The southern gang quickly devised a plan. They definitely have very strong people behind them, backing them. Zongwu held out a tablet to our hero. He said there was information inside. If the guy agreed to cooperate, he could take it for himself. Yang Cheng inquired about the little milk ball's thoughts on the matter. After receiving a satisfactory answer, the protagonist said he would listen to him this time. Louis Che sat by the master's bedside. The old man was still unconscious. Feng Feng looked into the room. Louis Che asked how Xuanlin was doing. Feng Feng replied that the girl was still in a coma. Grand Master and Xuanling had been in a deep sleep for almost 24 hours now. Will they wake up? Louis Che shouted for Feng Feng to immediately shut up. The woman said that she was just worried about the Great Master. The doctor said that Grand Master is mentally traumatized. He just needs a good rest. His skill in martial arts is so advanced that no one can beat him. The old man wiggled his fingers on his hand. Louis Che rushed to the bed. The Grand Master began to move. The old man opened his eyes and grabbed the student by the collar. He shouted for him to quickly write it down. Louis Che asked, "What is the master talking about?" The old man uttered, "Zombie purification mantra." Suddenly a siren howled. Louis Che said it was an invasion warning. Every unit must be on full alert. Security has reported that a stranger is attacking. We must proceed to the main gate and stop the intruder. Louis Che wondered, are the attackers targeting them? Feng Feng demanded, as the guards answered. Could they hear her? Only cries for help were heard in response. Zong Wu and his support group with firearms launched an attack. The man said that for all that Mr. Mu suffered, he wants the villains to repay twice as much. The guard reported that the main gate had been suppressed by a group of unknown militants, their firepower too great. Louis Che shouted to be connected to the security room immediately. He needs a videotape of what is happening outside. The old man jumped up from the bed and heard Elder UGG's voice over the speakerphone. UGG, who had destroyed all the guards, said that he could hear the voice of an old man who was about to die. UGG said to this old man not to worry, he will come to see his last moments. The old man said for Feng Feng to take a few people with him and suppress this uninvited guest. The old man called Louis Che to him and said that he must not speak later. The student must remember it clearly, for it concerns their lives. Feng Feng and her support team were giving instructions on which places to look for UGG. The woman ordered that, as soon as the guards saw the enemies, to destroy them on the spot. Unexpectedly, Li Pan appeared in front of Feng Feng. They were old acquaintances. Li Pan said that she met up with Feng Feng again. Feng Feng was surprised to see Li Pan here. Feng Feng sent out a support group and said that she would deal with it herself here. The girls were left one-on-one. Feng Feng said that life mocks people. What she didn't expect after leaving the orphanage was to meet again as enemies. Li Pan said that Feng Feng could leave this place. After all, she didn't join the South Branch. Feng Feng replied that she only does this because she works for her boss and has no plans to leave the place. Li Pan said that in that case, she could only hit back at her opponent. Feng Feng shouted, "Let her try if she can," and rushed at her opponent with her fists. Feng Feng promised not to punch Li Pan in the face. Li Pan effectively fended off her opponent's punch. The child guarding Xuanling heard a noise outside and wondered what was going on. Does he really have to sit here? Since the girl wouldn't wake up anytime soon, the boy decided to see what was going on and come back later. The child pressed the button to call the elevator. He thought maybe there was something he could do to help. The elevator doors opened and a man appeared in front of the boy with a white balloon by his side. The man was surprised to see a small child. Yang Zheng asked if the child knew Xuanling. The white balloon squeaked approvingly. The boy said he seemed to know the man. Yang Zheng showed his fist and told the kid not to try to distract him. He must hurry up and tell him where the girl was, or he would break his buttocks. The boy got scared and said he was just a kid. Does this boy not think that he is acting inappropriately? Yang Cheng replied that he didn't think so. The boy said that in that case, he would take him there. The child rushed at our hero and shouted that he would destroy him. Yang Cheng hit him in the chest with his fist. The boy flew backwards and hit his back against the wall. Yang Cheng was surprised that his reaction had become so fast. His body had become more agile. Yang Cheng walked to the hole in the wall and realized that he had left the child alive after all. Yang Cheng entered through the hole into the next room. It was dark and he couldn't see anything. The child, moving silently, was behind the hero. The boy decided that this guy was going to be finished. Yang Cheng abruptly turned around and grabbed his opponent's back. The boy was caught. The kid was scared. How could this guy know he was in the back, since he was very quiet? Yang Cheng said that after what he had experienced with Li Pan, his feelings were sharpened. Yang Cheng was surprised. Did the child think that it was impossible to know his location just because he didn't speak? The kid thought this guy's speed and strength were very strong, at least on the level of drifting zombies. Yang Cheng began to shake the boy. He must tell him where Xuanlin was, or he would be the end of him. The kid reprimanded himself and decided to cast a spell. The boy used a fire curse and blew fire right in our hero's face. However, nothing happened to Yang Cheng. He said that means this kid has something up his sleeve. Yang Cheng shook the boy even harder and said that he was about to show him something better. It would be called Invincible Hot Wheels. Yang Cheng started spinning the child in a circle. The kid said that this guy was a real monster. Yang Cheng said that the boy had one last chance. If he didn't confess, he would be immediately sent to hell. The child showed our hero a finger and said that as a disciple of the Maoshan sect, he would never surrender to the zombies. Yang Cheng opened the door to Xuanlin's room. He held the child by the collar. The protagonist rushed over to the girl and spoke her name, Xuanling. Yang Cheng stroked the girl's cheek and told her to wake up. Our hero lifted the child up and asked what they had done to the girl. The child cried, "It wasn't his doing. It must be the great master." The boy added that his teacher wanted the girl's memories, but they were sealed. The teacher broke the seal and made her faint. There was nothing they could do. Yang Cheng deactivated the child with a palm strike on his neck and said that he should sleep here for a while. Yang Cheng took the girl in his arms and apologized to her, saying that he was late. Our hero declared that he would take Xuanling home right away and headed for the exit. Suddenly, the entire building shook. Even the attacking martial artist led by Zhongwu felt it. There was an explosion downstairs. Li Pan and Feng Feng grabbed their ears at the loud sound that rang out. Li Pan said that this building doesn't shake. Feng Feng added that it was the roar of zombies. Grandmaster succeeded. The old man stood on the bed and shouted that he had succeeded. Louis Che had done a good job. The zombies were awake. Gigi was surprised. He didn't expect that the old man could still be one step ahead. Yang Zheng thought that the earthquake had stopped, but that shouldn't bother him. He just had to get out of here quickly. Our hero sensed that someone was approaching. He told the little milk ball to get ready to attack. The doors opened, and a considerably aged Louis Che appeared on the threshold. He asked for help. Louis Che put his hand forward and moved towards our hero. Yang Cheng backed up. He didn't recognize this old man. The old man said his name. This was quite a surprise to our hero. Yang Cheng wondered, how could Louis Che turn into a zombie-like figure? Louis Che said it was fake. The Grandmaster got the wrong mantra. Louis Che pointed his finger at Xuanlin and said that it was her fault. The old man extended his fist forward and wanted to punch the girl. Yang Cheng dodged the blow and shouted for Louis Che to stay away, unless he was seeking doom. Yang Cheng saw a woman in red appear behind the old man. Louis Che cried out and sank to his knees. The old man slumped to the floor. There was a bleeding wound on his back. Yang Cheng was surprised to see the fairy. After all, she too had been captured by the villains. The woman licked her bloody fingers. The woman in red shouted that she needed more blood and rushed at Yang Cheng. Our hero was able to dodge. What's going on with the fairy? The woman in red turned around and tried to attack the protagonist again. The boy asked why she was doing that. At one point, the fairy grabbed the young man's back and tried to pull his skin apart. However, a small white ball attacked the woman and threw her far back. The whole room was engulfed in smoke. Yang Cheng, with the girl on his arm, continued to run away. He wondered, why did fairy want to destroy Louis Che? Could it be that she was being controlled? Yang Cheng sensed danger ahead. The milky ball let him know about it. In front of our hero, some girl was sitting on the stair railing. Her eyes were like those of a monster. The young man assumed it didn't look dangerous. The girl's eyes lit up, and she opened her mouth and rushed at our hero. Yang Cheng kicked the attacker in the jaw, thus preventing this attack. The girl smashed her head through the ceiling and remained hanging. Yang Cheng continued to move. He decided to find Master Kai Yue. The milky ball squeaked. Yang Cheng said that he would come back for the fairy after he rescued Xuanling. However, the woman in red reappeared in front of our hero. Glittering with demonic eyes, she said that she still wanted blood. Yang Cheng assumed that she couldn't wait. Yang Cheng told the white balloon to bring Xuanlin and leave first. The guy wondered, where is this balloon going? The white milky ball penetrated inside Xuanlin. The girl woke up and opened her eyes. Yang Cheng was glad that his companion was awake. Yang Cheng set the girl on her feet and told the white balloon to protect her. He would deal with the woman in red himself. The fairy extended her arm forward and continued to say that she wanted blood. Yang Cheng moved towards the woman and said, "It is him, Yang Cheng." Would she hear him? Xuanlin ran away at this time. Yang Cheng said, "Fairy must have suffered a lot to turn into this." The guy tried to calm her down. "She shouldn't worry. She'll be fine soon." Yang Cheng rushed towards the woman. The fairy ran towards Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng at this moment recalled their past encounters. He told the woman that she looked like the fairy in the painting, and he would call her a fairy. The woman agreed. She said that from now on, she would be called Fairy. Yang Cheng grabbed the woman and hugged her. The protagonist thought to himself that he would definitely bring this fairy back. He pulled the woman against him and kissed her on the lips. The woman in red pushed the guy away from her. There was an exchange of energy between them. Faye shrieked and fell to the floor. Yang Cheng knelt down and coughed. Our hero remembered that UGG told him that the zombie's power comes from their zombie gases. He can only weaken her power by absorbing her zombie gases before taking her away to save her. However, this millennial zombie gas proved to be too toxic. Yang Cheng wondered, was he able to suck all the gas out of her? Should he do it again? Yang Cheng took the woman in his arms and thought he could take it. Yang Cheng kissed her once more. Faye opened her eyes and was immediately surprised. Our hero got slapped. The woman called him a scoundrel. Yang Cheng thought he wanted to go home. Yang Cheng kneeled down in front of the woman and bowed and said that he was wrong. He apologized to Miss Fairy. Faye asked how he found her and where she was. Yang Cheng replied that she had been kidnapped by the Mao Shan sect. Doesn't she remember? Our hero's eyes glowed like a zombie's. Faye wondering what was wrong with his eyes. Yang Cheng replied, eyes becoming like this after he saved her. He doesn't know what curse is placed on her to make her go crazy. Yang Cheng explained he had to calm her down, so he sucked all the zombie gas out of her and then poisoned himself with it. Faye was surprised because Yang Cheng was also a zombie. How could he be poisoned by zombie gas? Faye said she does recall someone attacking her and doesn't remember anything after that. until she heard someone singing, making her go crazy and want to drink blood. Yang Chung said, "It must be the spell Louis Che mentioned." Now the room opened up, and the very same zombie girl appeared on the doorstep. Yang Chung said it looked like Fairy wasn't the only one. Yang Chung added he wasn't interested in kissing every zombie woman. After this girl, many more different zombies appeared. The Southern Gang has certainly raised a lot of zombies, but they can't be allowed to run rampant in the city. Yang Chung said that this place would become the grave of these zombies and rush towards them, attack. Working with his fists and feet, the protagonist scattered the zombies in different directions. Faye looked at this guy with astonishment. When did he have time to become so strong? Having dealt with all the zombies, our hero said they could rest in peace. Faye asked how he was feeling. Yang Chung replied that he was very well now. The boy replied that he felt much stronger after kissing Faye. After that, he immediately got a crack at it. Faye called him a brazen pervert. A message immediately followed. Our hero was contacted by Kai Yue. The guy asked how the situation outside was. Kai Yue, shooting back at the zombies, said, "Not so good." Kai Yue said that there are zombies that appear out of nowhere and attack everyone. He has already lost many of his men. Kai Yue added that they can't hold back the zombies. They need to retreat now. Kai Yue said that Yang Chung had better get out of here if he found Xuan Lin. Yang Chung grabbed Fairy's hand and said that Xuan Lin was going to the main entrance. Fairy should follow there as well. He, on the other hand, would stay here and deal with the zombies. Faye asked, "What's going on?" Yang Chung replied that he didn't know no more than she did. However, the zombies in this building are a bigger threat than the southern branch. Our hero contacted Gigi. He also asked Li Pan if she had met any zombies. Li Pan said that a few zombies had gotten in her way. Yang Chung said, "The zombies that the southern branch contained have gone on a rampage. They are attacking the people in that building. Wen Lin and Kai Yue will retreat soon. The building must be cleared of zombies." Yang Chung added that none of the zombies should leave alive. Gigi replied that he understood everything. Gigi told the old man that his plan had failed. The interlocutor replied that it was impossible. How could Ye Kai plot against him even after his last breath? Gigi said that Ye Kai was a rare talent. He was even thinking of appointing him as the successor of the Maoshan sect. Gigi pounced on the old man and said it was all his fault. He was the one who destroyed their Maoshan sect and destroyed Ye Kai. Gigi asked the old man, how could he want to choose the evil path of breeding and smuggling zombies? He had ruined the good reputation the sect had built up over hundreds of years. The old man laughed. How many people in the world know about the existence of the Maoshan sect? The Maoshan sect has been destroyed by this era, but by adhering to tradition, they are hastening its demise. The old man added that he was the only one trying to save the Maoshan sect. Gigi said that Maoshan sect doesn't need people like this old man. He can't let an old man live to annoy people. Gigi continued to beat the old man and told him to apologize to the pioneers of the Maoshan sect. The old man shouted for Gigi to stop. He stuck his hand under the pillow. In the old man's hand was a gun. A shot rang out and the bullet hit Gigi's chest. Gigi weakened and looked at the old man. Gigi, with a bullet in his chest, continued beating the old man. The old man said that Gigi himself had asked for it and fired another shot. Gigi bled and fell on the bed. The old man said if he hadn't fallen into Ye Kai's trap, he wouldn't have had to use such a despicable weapon like a gun. The old man added that he didn't want to shoot Gigi, but he had asked for it. Leaving the room, the old man said that he would build a funeral for Gigi after putting the place in order. A phone call rang. Yang Chung was trying to call Gigi. Our hero said that there are too many zombies in this building. If Gigi has any skills that can damage zombies, we should do it. Yang Chung asked on the phone if Gigi could hear him. At this time, Zombie was nearby. Yang Chung said that Gigi isn't answering. Could something have happened to him? After all, he had spent decades of his perfection to help him. Would he be able to handle this situation? Faye asked, how dare he mess with the Maoshan sect? Didn't he think that he could be destroyed by them? Yang Chung said that they couldn't bear to destroy a perfect zombie like him. Long black hair rushed out in pursuit of our heroes. Her hair wrapped around Faye's waist and wrapped around her waist. Faye stopped, looked around, and cut off that hair. Faye looked at the source of that hair. Yang Chung also saw it and was surprised. Our heroes were followed by a seductive girl. Kai Yue ordered to immediately report the situation to the security department. It is necessary to protect this place. Kai Yue added, he has no idea how many zombies there are. The old man added if necessary, they should destroy the entire building to prevent them from entering the city. There was some girl running toward the exit of the building. Kai Yue and his bodyguards turned their gazes to her. Kai Yue recognized this girl. This is the daughter from the Ye family. The man opened the car door and ordered this girl to be protected. The girl reached the old man and fell exhausted into his arms. The white milk ball left her body. Kai Yue saw this ball and said, he would have never thought that that one could be so useful. Kai Yue reported to our hero over the intercom that they had just received Lin. How's the kid doing? Yang Chung wrapped his long black hair around his arms and legs, said that he did not have to worry about him. We just need to get the girl away. The seductive zombie woman told the guy to take care of himself. Faye was also deactivated with long black hair. A woman tells our hero that he's an unusual zombie. She can only let him go because they are the same species. The woman added, that's none of Ms. Fairy's business. Yang Chung wondered, why isn't she concerned? Because she's prettier? The woman wondered, doesn't the boy still know? They need Fae blood to live and grow stronger. Zombie woman added that Fae is the most delicious food for them. It's also the best help in raising other zombies. The woman asked our hero if he wanted to work with her. Yang Chung sent that zombie woman away and tensed up and shouted loudly. The opponent, saturated with Fae blood, said that she was now full of strength. Fae fell to the floor exhausted. Her opponent said that now she wouldn't be able to break free. Yang Chung shouted loudly. The woman covered her ears with her hands. She couldn't stand that powerful roar. Her hair turned into snakes. She screamed for the guy to shut up. Yang Chung parted his hair, and with his hands free, he grabbed those snakes. Her opponent couldn't understand how this was possible. Fear appeared in her eyes. Yang Chung held that woman's hair and said that she should cut her hair. Yang Chung pulled his hair and pulled the woman to him. Our hero said he would help her and did so by punching her in the nose with his fist. At the same time, he added that the woman should like it. Grabbing her opponent's head, Yang Chung slammed her against the floor with such force that the floor cracked. The guy kept kicking her in the head, saying it was a facial massage, breaking through the floor. The woman fell to the floor below. Looking at his opponent, our hero said that she looks much better now. Yang Chung ran up to Fairy and asked if she was all right. Yang Chung lifted the woman in his arms and said that she had lost a lot of blood and also gave him a lot of energy. This caused her to be severely injured. Yang Chung apologized to Faye for not being able to protect her. Yang Chung put the woman in red on his back and said that he couldn't leave her here. Our hero contacted Li Pan and asked where she was now. He added that it was necessary to pick up the injured man. Li Pan replied that it was no problem. Li Pan thought that the master didn't answer her. Something must have happened. Li Pan told Feng Feng to go with her. After all, she still has a chance to live a normal life. Feng Feng replied that Li Pan is too naive. She has no idea what kind of powerful organization is behind her. There's no way to get out of here alive. Feng Feng turned around and told Li Pan to leave. She would have no mercy the next time she saw her. Li Pan said that she still had so much to discuss with Feng Feng. The old man moving around the ruined building said that he never thought he would fall into Yedakai's trap. A boy peeked out from around the corner and asked in surprise, "Is it really the master?" The child rushed to the old man and said he was glad the master was all right. The boy said that Yang Chung had come. Not only did he hurt him, but he also took Lin away. The old man asked if the child had seen Louis Che. The child said that Louis Che had died. The old man asked how could this have happened. The child explained that Louis Che died in a horrible way. The old man said to activate the zombie purification spell, you need a life essence as an initiator. Yedakai planned to use it to kill him. From Xuanling's autopsy of Xuanling's memories to the zombie rampage, he had set many traps to destroy him. The old man was upset. Did Yedakai really hate him that much? The kid told the foreman to get up. This place is not safe. They better get out of here. Old man said spent many years perfecting zombie. He can't just give up. The kid said the zombies are already out of control. Maybe they can't be sealed. It's a risk to life. The old man said he couldn't do it alone, but with the child's help, he could. The old man touched the boy's forehead with the palm of his hand and said that he should lend him his self-improvement. The old man shouted for the void force between heaven and earth to lend him his power. The child shouted that the master should not do so. The old man told Tong to relax. He just borrowed his development. They are his life. The old man let go of his hand and said the child would only earn dementia. Compared to Louis Che, this boy was much more fortunate.